Hanging by a thread, hung upon all the words you said, breaking free from this conformity that you force on me. Everything I do is one big show. It's about damn time that I take control. Put me under a microscope and watch me take control. What's this? I finally read this helplessness. Tired of feeling like I'm upside down, so I'm gonna turn it all around. And and dear God, save my soul, 'cause it is flawed. Tired of feeling like I'm upside down, so I'm gonna turn it all around. Don't tell me that I need saving. Finally awake and living. Yeah. The pressure inside was building.
Just like a phoenix, born from the ashes. I take care of my own. Torn down where assassin. You can't suffocate my spirit, 'cause I'm the king of my own throne. My own throne. King of my own throne. My own throne. You'll never see me fall.
Hello and welcome back here for the Octane tier here at week 2 of the seasonal shootout. My name is Delta, joined by Y Bass himself, Bass from the past.
Wide Bass is I guess that'll have to be my permanent name here, but thank you for the lovely intro, Delta. I'm excited to be here and well, I mean, we were just talking about this before we started. The matchups we've got this week are absolutely stacked. This is going to be one heck of a day of Rocket League.
We only do have 4 matches today, Valentine's Day. I know some teams unfortunately aren't able to play today, which is unfortunate, but it is, a special day for some people. But we still have 4 amazing matches here today, featuring some great teams, and starting it all off, Veracity and Dark Allegiance, which this is a matchup both of us have really circled as going to be just a hell of a matchup.
I mean, it's 2 of the top teams in the league right now. Again, it's very early into the season, so to call anybody the top dog is a bit excessive, I would say. Not that they're necessarily not going to be the top teams at the end of the season, but for right now, these are 2 of the teams that are currently undefeated. So one of them is going to have to take.
I think Veracity is actually 1-1.
Oh, you're correct. I'm thinking about the second match. My mistake. You are correct on the very first one. It is 1 team undefeated, 1 team that is not, or that has 1 single loss. But again, Veracity, we've been hyping them up for quite some time. We believe they're a good squad. They prove that they're a solid squad. The question is can they take down DA? And then the match afterwards, which is what I'm talking about, that is where we're going to see the first of losses for either Fallout or Hashiras. Again, this is also the matchup we saw in the finals of last season. So you got to know there's going to not necessarily be some bad blood here, but this is going to be a very much a grudge match.
For sure. And also, we were talking with Veracity, that 1 loss. I believe Veracity's 1 loss came to Hashira. So it's 1 loss, yes, but it's to a team that hasn't lost yet. A team that is coming off of a 2nd place finish last season. A team that has shown that they have imposed and have upgraded their roster a bit, bringing on Bits especially, but also Unky as well.
Yeah, they've got a very stacked roster now. Shiras came back into the season. They were ready. I remember informing them that, the bubble tier was going to be a thing. We were going to do invite only, all of this. And their captain, Aza, was like, okay, let's do this. Got very prepared, brought in all these players. And he has really assembled quite a squad here. Like you were mentioning, Bits is a CRL player that has been around for a little bit of time here and is really a very skilled one at that. So genuinely one of the teams to watch out for the season. But at this point, honestly, I think we got to watch out for pretty much all of these teams. Every team has performed pretty well so far. And even if they're not necessarily getting the wins that they wanted in the first couple weeks, it's a long season. They've got plenty of time to recover. And again, this week is a really good place to prove that. We've got a lot of good teams battling it out here, and to get onto stream and to really, show that they know what they're made of here in this second week would be such a statement to the rest of the teams going further into the season.
For sure. And then to go over to that 3rd match, PHM Academy coming in right now 2-1. They have played 1 of their matches already for this week, going up against Speedage, another team I believe sitting at 1-1 that has a strong offseason, won that first tournament we did with Frontline, and had really high hopes going into the season. And PH Academy, I believe this will also be their first on-stream match with their full starting roster of Nitrix, Popo, and Ryan.
Well, it'll be an interesting test for them for sure. Like you said, Speed is not a team to be taken lightly. Obviously, they have not necessarily had the perfect start here, but at 1-1, they're still absolutely a team you have to watch out for. They're a good team. They are a lethal team. And realistically, they're a team that could probably break PDHM Academy down to an even scoreline again. At this point, they're at 2 wins and 1 loss, so they're still barely above 500, but they could hit that again if they don't perform here today. I think, again, this is going to be another grudge match where it's just going to kind of go back and forth here. I don't really know who I'd be able to take there. You can't really force me to take a pick, unfortunately, because I wouldn't be able to give you one. As really all of the games are like that. Our 4th game here today is very similar. Veracity Gaming versus Fallout. Again, 2 teams that have done well. Fallout 2-0, like we mentioned. They may have taken their first loss by this point if they aren't able to beat Hashiras. But regardless of that, Veracity at only 1-1, they will also have to try and take a win before that against Dark Allegiance. And if they don't, they fall to 1-2. So this second game for both Fallout and Veracity is going to be very important for them in terms of setting their record the way they want for the rest of the season. If it goes well for Fallout today, they could go 4-0 by the end of the day. If it goes badly for them, they're going to end up even. Similarly, though, for Hashira's and for Veracity Gaming, if Hashira's loses their match against Fallout, all of a sudden they are no longer perfect. And Veracity Gaming, if they lose both of their matches, they're 1-3, really down there when it comes to their records. So, very important day for all of the teams that we're going to see on stream here, depending on how they go, depending on if they, break even on what they do. This week in particular could have a serious outcome on the rest of the season.
Sure, I mean, it is early. It is only week 1. It is a 9-week regular season, a double round robin. So even this 4 games is still, though, you're talking out of the 18 matches you're going to play, you're nearing that quarter mark, 1 quarter mark of the season. And yes, there's time for you to kind of make a comeback in the standings, start to go back up, but it's still not an insignificant chunk.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of these things where these teams have plenty of time to recover. Even if they don't necessarily come off to the greatest start that they want, they've still got plenty of time to try and turn this one around. Again, though, it's also about setting precedent. You want to be that team that going into the latter half of the season, teams are looking for, they're wanting to be, that target team realistically. It's not necessarily the perfect thing to be the target team, but occasionally it will help you out. And honestly, I truly do think that for a lot of these teams, considering it's season 1 of our top tier, it's the first season that we've done this bubble only tier. This is a really good place to try and prove it now. If you want them to take you seriously throughout the season, if you want them to continue, not necessarily fearing you, but getting ready for matches against you, you have to prove it here at the beginning of the season. This is the time to do so.
Definitely, I mean, these early matches, this is also going to be for teams like Speech and everything. This is their first stream match of the season, so we have that as a factor. But overall, these teams, this is as it gets more serious. This is not just, the welcome to the league now. Now you're in, you've played your teams. These teams have probably started scrubbing all against each other. The familiarity is starting to get there as we get closer. And as we get closer now to that first matchup, though, which we will talk about later, but right now, I mean, early season, any big surprises for you?
Big surprises to start off with would be, one of our former teams from last season who had done great the entire time, Snakes in the Grass, starting off 0-3. They've had a bit of a rough run of it so far. Definitely have not had the start of the season that they would have liked, but it's not necessarily, too late for them at this point. I think we both mentioned how this is a long season enough times that everybody can believe us when we say we can't count Snakes in the Grass out quite yet. They took a 0-3 against Fallout. They were not able to get a game off of them. Then followed up, they also faced another 0-2 or 2-0 team against Dark Allegiance, where they went 0-3. And then finishing it off, they just barely couldn't beat PDHM Academy in a 3-2. So it seems like they're on the uptick right now after taking on two of the biggest teams in this tier right now. Definitely not easy for them to recover, but for them to come back and play against PDHM and go to a 3-2 scoreline, take them to Game 5, it shows that they've still got some fight left in them. So as much as I am surprised to see Snakes at 0-3, I have no doubt in my mind that they'll be able to recover on the back half of the season. And I can even say back half of the season. We're only in week 2. They have plenty of time to make up for this start. So yeah, definitely Snakes in the Grass, though. A surprising start for them for sure.
And it's also a bit of deja vu for them. They had a rough start last season, starting in a bit of a hole too, and came back strong in the back half, get into that playoff position to make it and wound up coming in 4th place at the end of the season after the playoffs. But this is a team that's used to now being able to turn things around mid-season. They did it last season successfully. This is a team that seems to have that just innate ability to, when things get rough, just flip the switch. I mean, yes, it'd be better for them, obviously, to not have to go in that situation to be, starting out well, but this is a team that's not unfamiliar to coming back from these situations. And a lot of it, we saw, for example, last week on stream, they were in that match against Dark Allegiance. Yes, they got swept, but it was 3 incredibly close games, or at least 2 or 3 incredibly close, and because of the Snakes' defense. And this is a team that prides themselves on that has been one of these teams that is known for just their ability to keep other offenses in check. And its question is, when does that offense go to meet it? And once that happens, this team just can get scary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the big thing about that you mentioned is that, being able to take on that pressure, being able to withstand that offense of other teams, it really becomes important in the playoffs. And again, as much as this entire season is about, making sure you've got a good record, making sure that you perform against these other teams, it's also about winning it all. Once it gets down to it, if you can't perform the same way in playoffs, it doesn't really matter. You've got to keep that mentality of, every game matters just like it is the playoffs. Treat every game like you would a game in the playoffs, and you will be prepared when the time comes because we've seen it before, and I don't think we're going to, it's not going to be something that we stop seeing anytime soon. It does happen where teams will perform well all season. They look unstoppable all season. And then they get to the playoffs and they just can't handle the pressure. They make mistakes that they normally wouldn't make. The pressure gets to them. Then they make unusual errors. And it's just something that does happen to teams from time to time. So definitely something we're going to have to watch out for here in the season is the teams that look good right now, but we're not sure how they're going to do under pressure. Big matchups like we see here today will be a good test of that because, like we said, it's going to be two undefeated teams going against each other in Fallout and Hashiras. If the pressure isn't on there, I don't know where it would be. So definitely think that we're going to see a little bit of a glimpse of that today in that matchup.
Sure, and just before as we wrap things up, I would like to take a moment first to remind everyone that these prize pools, we are community funded. We have these minimum amounts, but that's just a minimum. We love for these amounts to be, give even more for these players, and for that, it's the community funded way we've always done it. So if you want to help chip in, increase the amount that these players will be playing for in all three tiers at the end of the season, we do have that donation link down below. Also, huge shout out and huge thanks to our sponsors, Level Gaming and Forge Coaching. Both have been amazing for us helping to contribute to these prize pools. For more info, just !level, !forge in Twitch chat to get info on both of those. Also, reminder now, Twitch subscription, the new emote, in case you didn't hear about it, Wide Bass is now our Twitch emote, so if you want to spread the word of Wide Bass, you can sub to us. Remember, that money does go towards the prize pools as well. It's not like we're just taking it. That will also be a way for you to help contribute to this prize pool.
I'm happy to see that Wide Bass finally made it onto the channel I'm not gonna lie, I am happy to have the cameras back so that I don't necessarily have to have that stretched Squirtle as my as the defining icon for my brand. But I'm not against it either. Well, I can appreciate a good meme when I see it. Wide Bass is probably one of the best ones out there, to put it simply.
Yeah, we are going to be wrapping things up here now. We will be back. Actually, both of us will be back pretty much right away as we get ready for this first matchup. So let's turn to that matchup. Ferocity Gaming and Dark Allegiance.
Yeah, it's going to be a very close one indeed. Very excited for this one to start. And honestly, just hoping that we get game 5 at minimum here. Hoping that we can get these guys in a long match.
Because we are just right now getting ready for that, waiting on all the players to join up into the lobby. But this matchup, I mean, what a way for us to start, as we may have to wait a bit longer as some overeager attempts at joining.
It happens on occasion. It is, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get much of a light show here, so I don't think we're going to be able to recover this lobby. So, but again, that just kind of gives more time for us to talk about this matchup that we have coming up. So, early predictions here, Delta. We've got Ferocity Gaming, who, in my opinion, was one of the biggest teams to join into our bubble tier. They had been on the upswing. They had been putting up some pretty good results in some bigger tournaments lately. And then we've got Dark Legion, another team that had been around the bubble scene for some time, had some really good results as well, but had sort of faded off for quite some time. Now they're back. They're taking down big names, and they're proving that, well, there's a reason we brought them here as well. So Ferocity, this is a time for them to step up and prove why we brought them in, and why I personally really did vouch for them, because I think that they've got an incredible squad made. So similarly, I want to see, how they perform against one of these teams that is really the best of what we brought in. Dark Allegiance have looked dominant so far here. So this is definitely a test between the two of them, to put it simply.
For sure, and also one thing to note for us is a newer roster. They haven't just recently made some rostering. Zell is still there, but bringing on Blazer and G-Man, going against a team in Dark Allegiance that has been together for quite some time.
Yeah, the Dark Allegiance team has been around for a while, which gives them a lot of good chemistry. And another big thing about that is in high pressure situations like this, where sometimes you've got to make those minor adjustments, it can be easier for a team that's already well used to the rotation. So if you're going to call out, hey, I'm going to start playing more defensively here, or start to try and take a different rotation, your team will understand what that means because they know your normal rotation. So it may be a little bit difficult for Veracity to get there, but considering they've been playing well together recently, they've had some experience. I truly do believe that they'll be able to make those adjustments. But honestly, looking at this one, if I had to take an early prediction, I'd probably give it to Dark Legions just because they've been on the upswing when it comes to the last couple games they've played in seasonal. But definitely think this is going to be a tense back and forth.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree as well. I mean, we've seen, I mean, Ferocity, there have been at times those, growing pains with that new roster. It's early in the season. I do think this is a team, though, that will be good, especially as the season goes on. But in the early season, there are times where you still, see that this is a new roster. These players are getting through it, and that's the kind of thing that a well-established team that's been together for a while, that knows how to play together, can easily exploit. And if you want to talk about a team that's been together a while, as we mentioned, Dark Allegiance, this is a team that's all three players very familiar with each other, very comfortable with each other, and it really seen them just their ability to be perfectly in sync.
Yeah, I mean, again, both scary squads, to put it simply. Neither one of these teams is going to give us a lackluster show, to put it simply. I definitely think that this is going to be, a battle for the ages, to put it simply. I do believe that Dark Allegiance are going to put up one hell of a fight. And similarly, I think that Veracity are going to show us a side of them today that, like I said, I've been waiting for this Veracity that's going to pop off and really show that amount of power. And as we're being told right here, the only reason that Veracity are 1-1 right now is because they couldn't finish off the Heroes in a 5-game series, taking them to Game 5. So if they can take one of the undefeated teams to a Game 5, you got to imagine that they've got some potential here. Maybe not the strongest start at 1-1, but like we've been saying, very long season, plenty of time for them to try and bring this one back. I think they've got a ton of time and a ton of potential here in this season.
Yeah, both their series actually going to 5 games, as we saw on stream last week for us, 5 games against Meteor Galaxy, and taking the win there against another extremely strong team.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of strong teams here. So we could really do this all day talking about who we do or do not think they're going to take down. But I mean, honestly, it all kind of comes down to what we see on stream here today. I think that this is going to be a matchup that, it's just a battle back and forth. We will never really be able to tell which team is going to take this one. So honestly, like I said, Delta, I will probably lean towards Dark Allegiance, but I really could also see Veracity taking this one quickly as well.
For sure, as we are still waiting on them and we may go to a quick break, just waiting on production on that. But as we are currently just awaiting one of the teams to join. So are we going to go to a break, or?
I think we're hearing in the background talking to our producer, trying to figure out what exactly we are going to do here. So we do apologize, everybody, but we should have this all sorted out in just a moment.
So, yeah, we will be going to say. You continue.
I was just going to say, I think we were about to say the exact same thing, which is we have gotten word from our producer that we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to be right back. And again, it will be me and Delta in the booth here. So please do stick around. We're going to be back in just a moment.
Never reminded, never taking whatever you told me. I know what I could be. Making emotion paintable answers. Tell me, is this what you made me? I'm the storm that meets the moon. I'm the sun that will never move. Do you think you are? Who do you think you tell me one more lie? Every time you bring me close, and you're thickening the ghost of you, bleeding tires you've undone. I'm done. I'm done.
I mean, we'll see. Second, Welcome back. Sorry about the delay. Just having some issues getting all the players, but we do have players here. We will be having, unfortunately, a sub for Zell on Ferocity. So Breed will be stepping back in alongside G-Man and Blazer, going up against Jaco, Samji, and Viox. But we saw Breed coming in as a sub last week against Meteor Galaxy, and they won. So he's not something to sleep on. I mean, yes, Zell does have that offensive ability, but I mean, sometimes it's just that X factor, and sometimes having, even when you have a sub, it looks like you're out, but sometimes that can just be a difference maker mentally.
Yeah, sometimes it can just be, it'll throw out the rotations, it'll change up what you're expecting. It could be, for the better depending on how this one goes. But like we said, Zell has been a key player on this Ferocity Gaming offense for quite some time. He is a banger of a shooter. So unfortunately, this sub could really throw a wrench in everything. But we'll have to find out. Again, I don't want to count them out quite yet here. I still think Ferocity, even with their sub and as Reed is their third man here, I still think that they've got a great shot at this one. Is it going to be a bigger hill to climb? Yes, definitely. Is it not possible? No, I think it's definitely doable. I absolutely believe that this is possible for them still.
It's that underdog mentality. It's something that's just, no, hey, no one's expecting anything from us. Sometimes that just will release everything, and it's having that back to this wall, we have nothing to lose. Sometimes that will just flip the switch, but now we are ready to get underway here in game number 1 as G-Man saying his win, but Jaco does a good job forcing it wide. Laser with the shot, Viox able to come up with that save. Viox is going to send this one and try to gets past one, but no one there for any sort of follow-up.
They're going to try to take this one out of the corner, but already we're seeing, even without Zell as their third Ferocity, already on offense here. I mean, honestly, I don't know why we expected anything less, even without that third man. I still do feel like Blazer and G-Man still have such a reputation of such high-octane offense, so for them to put out anything less would honestly be surprising. And as well, they do also have to keep a good octane or high octane defense as well here, because you can see DA there taking shots as well. Back and forth this one goes from possession to possession here. Dark Allegiance now, back on defense, and Sam G will make a phenomenal save. So it looks like both teams have come here to play as, oh my word, off the bar, and G-Man can't make the follow-up touch. A minute in, and already my heart is racing here in game 1.
I mean, even though this match is not disappointed, both teams just coming so close. These defenses, though, coming up with the wins, coming up with these saves, but it has been just an onslaught that both teams have been able to weather. It's really going to come down. It seems like which team will blink first, which team can force just that extra bit of an opening, because even when it seems like, this is going to be a tough save, these saves are getting made.
Yeah, indeed. It does look like the biggest thing here is that while the offense has, started to become electric, it seems like the defense has definitely stepped up to it, as you have said. So the interesting thing right now will be the first team to really crack. Right now we're seeing very, I'm not going to say conservative, but patient gameplay. These teams don't want to make that big mistake that opens up their defense, and well, it doesn't look like they're making that mistake quite yet. Blazer going to get a pretty easy save. No overcommitment out of DA, and they're back on defense, already. So, yeah, this patient gameplay is probably going to work to the favor of both teams, but for how long is the big question. One big mistake, and all of this is going to open up like crazy, and, well, we're about halfway through this game and at a 0-0 scoreline. I can't imagine it's going to last much longer, as here comes DA on their offense yet again. A good clear out of Reed, and they are back to scrambling on defense that quickly. Again, just back and forth and back and forth.
You've seen a couple times on the part of Dark Allegiance as a potential mistake does come out there. Viox, though, is there to clean it up. But I was saying a couple times we have seen Dark Allegiance trying to go for some of these physical plays, but we've seen now start a couple minor mistakes. They've been able to have that man back to clean up from them, but things have started to get a bit shaky on the Dark Allegiance side.
Yeah, it's actually surprising here that, honestly, like we said, with the sub, we weren't exactly sure how Ferocity were going to do here today. Not to necessarily, dish on against their sub or really try to bag on him, but we just didn't think that he'd be able to be the same caliber as Zell, because Zella's got a reputation in the league already. Despite such a short time here, we can already tell that he's going to be one of the most lethal strikers in the league. So for Reed to step up here and really put a good third man position so far, maybe even score as he tries to get the redirect out in midfield. But seriously, Reed is stepping up to bat right now. He is really doing very well with the team. They're not necessarily as electric on offense. I can definitely tell that there's a little bit lacking there, but the defense has been stellar and the overall three-man play has been pretty good. So far, it really does seem like Veracity are up to par with their old team as we're about 4 minutes in. Still no goal scored against them, and Reed almost able to put in the first one as well.
And Reed really coming in as that defense. We saw him when he was coming in sub. I forgot for who it was last week against Meteor Galaxy, but he is really, it's almost like they're trading the offensive Zell for the defensive Reed when they go to the sub, and it doesn't seem like they're really missing that much of a beat.
I mean, it really, yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. It's just they're not, oh my word, missing anything. They might have been missing that defense on the back half there. Would have wished that no one got bumped, but luckily for them, Blazer will be able to pick up the save. But again, like you said, it doesn't look like they're necessarily missing anything. Reed, though, not missing that shot. And after talking about how good their defense had been and talking about how much Reed stepped up on the back half, he steps up on the front half to a banger of a shot, perfectly placed, and 1-0, Veracity will take the lead.
Not had to be perfect, because we saw Sam G had the read on it. He knew where that was going, and if that was any lower, it would have gone right into that save. But, I mean, perfect shot placement was needed from Reed there, and he delivered.
This has been a performance and a half out of Reed so far here. I'm not going to necessarily tell Veracity, hey, maybe let's start looking at Reed instead of Zell, because I think that Zell is still, you know, that absolute banger of a player. But I think it's nice for Veracity to know that, hey, if we need to bring in our third, if we have a day where one of the guys is just not feeling it, we can rely on our third every time. They were able to take a win last week, and now they've started off by Reed. I believe if they let this drop, indeed, taking the win here in game number 1. That, I mean, listen, we can keep talking about it all day. That was a performance and a half for Reed as the super sub coming out on top of your team with the 1 goal as well as a save. I mean, really a very, very impressive performance from their sub.
I mean, getting that MVP as well for that. I mean, you're seeing the offense still strong. 10 shots for Veracity compared to 7 for Dark Allegiance. And Reed, though, wasn't really calling over. Instead, yes, he had that 1 goal. He was coming in as that third man, only the 2 shots, but because they need him on the back end, and he delivered there, and that is what he is bringing. He can play that third man role to a T, and when they were able to, you know, have him come up in those kind of situations, in those follow-ups, and that is what allows him to really get that because he can be just a lethal striker from that third man position.
Yeah, I mean, just really well done all around here. I am being informed, it looks like according to chat, according to another team that is associated with Veracity, the Speedage roster, Skiboy is telling me that they're now putting Reed in as the starter, but G-Man is the sub now. So it looks like it's going to be a little bit different. So I guess this is a little bit of a different roster than we were expecting normally. So I guess the new roster here is going to be Blazer, Reed, and Zell. So either way, this 3-man squad that they've assembled here today, do they really need to do we really need to say which one the sub is? At this point, they're all playing phenomenally. Every single player out there is playing well. So, I mean, Skiboy saying it perfectly. It doesn't really matter when all 3 players are playing this well. You can be the sub. You can be whatever you want as long as you're getting wins as we go into game 2. And, well, yeah, Veracity, they do have the lead right now.
I mean, it's that 4-man roster, sometimes having that option of, you know, that any group of those 3 of those 4. And that is, I think, what we're going to be seeing from Veracity. Now, Jacob trying this one, a chance for Sam G-Man, though, shutting that one down. Now, G-Man.
Great touch. This one out
But
to the
Jacob reached it well.
In front of it. Again, this is just one of these things where we keep seeing this one go back and forth here. Delta, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on, do you think we're going to see a difference in pace? Because we go into game 2 after game 1 where we kind of just saw this back and forth, and it's the same thing now. I have a feeling we're going to see this for quite some time here. You think this is going to change anytime soon?
I think both teams are comfortable playing this way. It'd be one thing if one of these teams, we see them trying to change the pace, trying to play it in there, but both teams, I think, want to play this kind of game. And that's the thing is, these teams playing this, you're going strength against strength. You're going two teams that want to play this fast back and forth game. And I don't see a reason for either team to try to force a change here and try to, slow things down when I feel like that would only hurt either of them. Is G-Man able to put that one in?
I'm almost speechless. Look at the ghost touch. Oh my word.
Off the wheels.
Okay, listen, chat, that may not look like much, but you gotta understand, to get a touch like that and keep it on target, that is way more difficult than you would expect. I was speechless there because I thought that G-Man was able to get the ghost touch, but honestly, to pull off what is basically a freestyle move in a competitive environment, well done to G-Man. I am still a bit speechless as that one will give Veracity the lead now here, but maybe only for a minute. The Ox are going to put that one a bit too high, and unfortunately, Dark Allegiance will still come up empty and possibly even have to endure a counterattack as Blazer cannot get it past Jaco. But again, Veracity Gaming holding strong so far here. This has been a performance and a half, and again, this is not the usual Veracity roster, yet somehow they've been up 2 games in a row now, possibly putting in their second goal here. Jaco has to make a save, but Delta, this Veracity roster right now looks unstoppable. They are a dangerous force to be reckoned with.
I mean, it's when you have players of this kind, when you're able to pull this off, I mean, it is just crazy. We saw that goal from G-Man, I mean, I'm just as stunned as you were at that. It is the level of skill and just the awareness, being able to get just that perfect soft touch off of the wheels to beat out the defense on that. I mean, and they're saying he's the sub, technically? I mean, I think it's all 4 players want to play in all 4 in every match, and unfortunately, you only get 3 on the field.
I mean, honestly, they can do whatever roster they want. What on earth, Reed? What was that? How do you take a dribble and get that much power on your follow-up touch? Bangs that one in underneath to take a 2-0 lead here. Listen, Reed, I get it. You're angry we called you a sub. I apologize. We didn't know, and now you're just going to punish us because he has been a banger of a shooter since, and so is everybody else on the team, as Blazer will put in the 3rd goal now for a 3-0 lead for Veracity.
Just completely erupting here with 3 goals, and I'm not even sure how much time that was, but just being able to just get these quick goals and really putting on the pressure. Dark Allegiance still has yet to score in this series.
One-sided performance for sure, and again, I know we had hyped this match up as this is going to be, it's a good match. It's 2 teams that are on the rise. It's a team that's good. But again, we honestly thought that if anything, DA would walk away with the more definitive victory here just because they've been 2-0. They've, oh my word, been able to step up against some of the biggest competition as G-Man makes the sketchiest save I've literally ever seen. But apparently right now, they just don't know how to keep up with Veracity. The offense from Veracity has such a quick transition, and they're such lethal scorers that if you're not perfectly in position on the defense, they will make you get punished. They will just destroy you, and well, that's exactly what they're doing here. DA are on the verge of a 2-0 deficit. They will have to reverse sweep to bring this one back. This is a performance and a half here, Delta. Do you think that DA are going to be able to slow down? Do you think they're going to be able to slow down Veracity anytime soon, or do we just see a Game 3 similar to the first 2?
I mean, it feels like it's almost in this game. It's the issue for them has been being forced to play from behind against an offense like Veracity's, and I think it's really going to come down to in Game 3 who can score first. If Dark Allegiance can get that first goal in game number 3, things I think can go quickly in their favor.
They need to get that, though.
Yeah, it's when they do. They haven't been able to beat this defense, though, at all. It's almost 10 minutes into the series, 2 games strong. They have yet to score, and that is just something that I don't think we expected. Is finally they will put one in. Sam G, recipient of those passes, and that is what they need to get working. These passing plays are what make Dark Allegiance so deadly.
And this is just heads up. It's a smart play all around there. Jago recognizes that it's a mistouch in the corner, knows that, hey, I could rip on a shot here. They're expecting me to rip on a shot. That's why there's 2 defenders in net. So how would I just pass it to the man in the center and make sure that we can get a guaranteed first goal out of Sam G? And, well, you know what? It'll work. It's taken some time, like you said, for them to finally get that goal through here. But now they've got some momentum on their side. They probably got their confidence back. And, yes, they are going down into a 2-0 deficit in the series, but finally scoring a goal can do so much for their confidence here. I do think that we're going to see a very different Game 3 because Game 2, definitely not the ideal game for Dark Allegiance here. Not a bad one, but Ferocity, definitively the victors here in Game number 2.
Yeah, and part of, as you were saying earlier, it could be that sub factor is having that, you know, going into someone who is, you know, making you play very differently. And part of it is Dark Allegiance, they may have been expecting the way that Verosity would play with Zell. Without him, it is definitely, you know, a different Verosity team in terms of a bit in the playstyle, but it's also going to be, as we are currently just having some discussions real quick on...
I think we're just figuring everything out for this next match. But yeah, like you were saying, I mean, this was just... It probably is not what Dark Elysian were expecting at all. To be honest, I mean, they definitely expected a team that was probably a bit more paced towards offense, not as much of the defense. But as we've seen here, Verosity, they're prepared on defense as well as offense. We had been talking about the banger shots, but they had 5 saves in the last game as well. The first game, Dark Allegiance were forced to make, I believe it was 8 saves. So they were forced to make a lot of saves. This time, Verosity didn't even give them the chance. If you thought the striking in the first match was lethal, the second match, you're going to want to go back and look at all those shots because they were just deadly time and time again. So for Verosity here, it's time for you to close out the series and finish this one out. For DA, it's time for you to prove why you made a sub. They took out their third there in Xeon, or what is it? I'm trying to...
Viox is out and Flex Swine is stepping back in, so maybe this is what they need to try to just get things changed, as right away, Flex Swine in there on offense, not able to get the shot on target through the defense.
I mean, this could be the big change. Again, it's a sub for a sub right now. It's not the full roster that we're normally expecting from Verosity, but my oh my, are they getting it done so far here. So maybe that's the trend for today. Let's see how these new teams play. Switch up the rotations a little bit. Switch up what it's normally going to be, and maybe that'll just work out in your favor. Well, for Dark Allegiance, it's kind of got to. If they do not win this game, that is the end of this one. And my oh my, what a disappointing end that would be. We had hyped this game up for so long, and I truly do believe that Dark Allegiance have the ability to take a game here, but now is the time to prove so. They're a minute into game number 3. So far, it looks like they're holding up pretty well as they've got a much better midfield presence, maybe even able to open up the score line, but not quite. Flex Swine will get denied, but again, you can just see the absolute, you know, firepower out of the offense here for DA. It is back, and it is better than ever.
I think Flex Swine going in, I think he actually is technically, I think VX technically might have been the substitute that they were going in with to begin with, so maybe I am waiting on confirmation for that, potentially. But
we'll have to find out.
Maybe we'll see something in Twitch chat on that, but either way, maybe having this in China, you know, see if they can make it, as we do feel like this game has started to slow down, and I think it does seem like this change maybe is, you know, reduce the pace a bit, and maybe that's what Dark Allegiance wanted.
I mean, it might be what they need. If you remember correctly, the closest game we've had so far was game number 1. It was pretty tense back and forth between the two of them. Dark Allegiance just barely lost to Verosity in the last couple of moments of the game there, really, to be honest. And realistically, that's the best they've done so far, so go back to it. Play patiently, play slowly, play in the way that makes yourself comfortable. You tried to keep up with the pace in game 2, and it left too many holes on the defense, so try to avoid that no matter what. It's been proven that if you give Veracity a shot, they will punish. And similarly, G-Man tries to punish there. Jaco will make the save, but again, this is the difference for Dark Allegiance. They're much more prepared on the back half right now, and I honestly don't see them switching that up anytime soon. Yes, they're lacking the firepower that I think they need, but honestly, their defense has been so much better here in game number 3.
For sure, is right now still looking for that offense. I mean, right now only one shot, as they will get a second and will get the goal there for Jaco.
Oh my word, Jaco, what on earth here? The dunk and a half. G-Man comes flying across the stream to just try and make some sort of save or just 50-50 to get it off target, but Jaco will have absolutely none of that. And finally, that patient playstyle is going to pay off for them here. 2 minutes left now in game number 3, and this would be such an important win for them. Not only would it leave them with a chance to come back as they will not lose the series, but similarly, the momentum will be in their side entirely as it is a 1-0 scoreline. Veracity really haven't had an answer for DA so far this game. So definitely a flip of the script, to put it simply.
And maybe that roster change, maybe that player change, switching up who's in, is what they needed. Is now they do seem to have flipped the script in this, and they have been able to shut down that Veracity offense that was just clicking on all cylinders.
They have to hold them off, though, for at least a minute 20 here. We are seeing some signs of life out of Veracity. Unfortunately, I was going to say, their defense has been leaving these holes, though. It really does look like Veracity are finally vulnerable for the first time in quite some time. First 2 games, it didn't necessarily look like, oh my word, there was any chance they'd lose, but now DA has really sharpened up their defense here, and they are cutting down these opportunities before they really arise. That is a very weird double commit, and it could go punished. Indeed, it will. Unfortunate. The minute I start talking about how much their defense has gotten better and they double commit in the worst way possible, will leave them open on the back end.
It's just unfortunate there. Captor's Curse coming into play. And yeah, just an unfortunate double commit there, which we see maybe being used to rotations they had with VX, and now switching back to Pledge Swan. That could change it, but quickly trying to answer back Samji off the backboard. Jacob cannot get through read. Pledge Swan just going to carry this one away from danger, but still looking to get this done, looking to avoid overtime. Passes over towards Jacob. Reed having to come up with the save on that.
One thing I am starting to notice out of DA, though, is since that goal has gone in for Veracity, they're starting to pull all of their players into offense again, which is getting me a bit worried. If they're able to pull off and really get a goal here before the end of regulation, sure. Otherwise, they're leaving holes in their defense again that I don't think they need to. And speaking of which, Sam G, the last one back, has to make a good touch. Now here comes Veracity. Blazer couldn't get the touch, but again, just look at the opportunities that we're now seeing here. Veracity are getting better shots here, and I think it's because DA are starting to get a bit impatient on the defense. Dark Allegiance, this is not the time to start throwing away the defensive handbook. It is time to buckle down and make sure they do not score. You guys have proven that when it comes to the long con game, when it comes to a patient gameplay, you have the ability to wait it out and take the victory. Oh my word, and as Jaco has to make his 3rd save of the game, they will indeed buckle down on defense. This is definitely much better. Pledge Swine being the only one out, I like this strategy better. They need to make sure that the defense doesn't get caught off guard. Otherwise, that's the end of the series as we know it.
I mean, this defense has been what has kept them in some of these games. We've seen Samji and Jacob both coming up with just massive saves. Pledge Swine getting in the save game as well. But they're relying on this defense and being able to wait till they can get the offense. But when they're abandoning the defense, that's what really killed them in game 2, and they need to avoid falling into that pitfall that Veracity wants them to go into. But Pledge Swan finding that corner to keep his team alive.
Super sub paying off for sure here, and again, it's another misread out in the corner from Veracity, but the big thing is the quick punishment that we see out of Dark Allegiance. It will give them game number 3. It will keep them in the series here, and really, that, like we said, the super sub working out in their favor as it will take the final goal of the game. Pledge Swine with a 1-0, 1-2 scoreline. Very well done here. honestly, this is the best we've seen Dark Allegiance play the entire series. And not only that, but it's good to see that they're actually making Veracity look vulnerable. It didn't even look like they had a shot in the first 2 games. Now we're really seeing the full potential of Dark Allegiance. This is what we were waiting for, Delta.
You're seeing is Dark Allegiance were behind the shot totals, only 5 shots compared to the 9 shots for Veracity, but they're welcome that. I mean, when you have someone like Jacob making 4 saves, 7 saves as a team, I mean, this is a team that they've been show that they can just dominate on defense, and that is right now. That is what they need to use. Is that's their recipe for success? Is being able to just have this defensive dominance, just wear down your opponents by constantly stopping them at every turn offensively, and then eventually you will get your chances on offense, and then being able to fully utilize those. Why am I forgetting the word?
It's not a worry. I mean, we got a lot of action here right now. It's a bit hard to keep up with everything going, so I don't really blame you. But, you know, the great thing about it is even if we can't necessarily figure out what to say, the teams can still figure out how to play. They can still give us a show and a half here. And as Game 4 comes underway, this is going to be, well, it's going to be a battle for the ages for sure, because this is now a chance for Veracity to prove that it was just a fluke. Dark Allegiance have shown that now here's the full strength. Here's our roster at its full potential. You have to get past our defense, oh my word, and withstand our offense as they flick one into the backboard with the power of Zeus there. But again, this is the time also for Veracity, you know, to show, hey, we can withstand that. You want to show your full squad? Go ahead. We will still be able to beat you. So really a big game for both teams here, really an important game for both teams, and really could decide the series if we get the right type of Veracity, and they aren't able to get 2 good shots in a row. They get 2 shots, but they're very lackluster. But again, Veracity, they're still not slowing down on defense, and they don't look to anytime soon.
Now, I just want to say, remind you, Bass, Zeus is not playing this game. He's on EV Horizon.
This is true. I do have to be aware that Zeus is now a name that is no longer just associated to the god. It is also now associated to gamer tags worldwide. So, you know, have to be aware of that. Also, have to be aware when Reed is coming flying across your screen. I didn't even know he was there for the save, let alone did I think he would make it. What on earth? The back half now for Veracity is stepping up, as well as the offense, almost able to get another redirect to his G-Man, but it won't matter if Reed can do that. Blazer will finish it off, but Reed with a perfect setup, perfectly off the backboard with a double touch. What on earth?
And just the goal steal by Blazer, but all props go to Reed. What was that? Just, I mean, there's a reason I guess they're not having him be the sub anymore.
Apparently so. Oh my word. Reed, listen, I don't know how many times I can say it today, but I'll keep doing it until I find your forgiveness. We are sorry for calling you a sub. It's very apparent you do not plan to be the sub, and you do not want to be, as you are an offensive powerhouse so far here today, really showing us some of the best goals we've seen all series, and really just an impressive performance for sure out of Veracity. But I don't want to count out Dark Allegiance yet. They looked great in game number 3. I think they've still got a chance to return to form, but Delta, I would be hard-pressed to say that they do not look like the same team right now. It just does not look like the same offensive firepower that we saw in match number 3.
As I said, it's that playing from behind. So you just put in a second. This is a team that does not want to have to play from behind. They do not want to have to play catch-up, and now is even getting that massive bump to open up the defense. They're down 2, approaching the halfway mark, and this could easily get into that game 2 territory if they can't, you know, find that answer quickly. This is a game that relies on their defense, but defense can't get you goals by itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest things here is that they're recognizing that defense can't only get them goals, so they're starting to play with a bit more pace, and I don't really think it's going to be to their benefit right now. The biggest thing for Dark Allegiance is we see whenever they go into a deficit, they start to play more aggressively, and they begin to make these holes in the back half really accentuate themselves. They become bigger and bigger and bigger, and that is something they have got to avoid, as Blazer, look at, already out there, no one to contest him. Jaco goes up to try to make a save, but it's a desperation save at that, so it's one of these things where they need to be more prepared on the back half right now. Dark Allegiance don't look bad in any way, shape, or form, but they are leaving these small gaps, and against a team like Veracity, you cannot afford that. They are far too lethal, and they will punish you way too quickly. Similarly, though, if you're going to just pass the ball to them, Dark Allegiance will happily punish you for that one. Again, it's another poor touch out in the corner here. G-Man was trying to recover from the poor touch from, I believe it was Blazer, but really, for some reason right now, Veracity just cannot handle their own corner.
Now, one goal game, we have that first goal back for Dark Legions. Can they get the second? Can they continue this? They are still behind, but now, as we saw, they have that first goal. We saw them starting to improve in game 2 after they got that goal. It was a bit late and with too much of a deficit, but now that one goal makes it a one-goal game again. And if they can keep this going, Dark Legions can bring this back even.
Here's a chance for them to do exactly that. Sam G passes it into Pledge Swine, but G-Man will take it away from him before he can even get a shot off. Again, it's this hesitancy that I was talking about earlier, this sort of in between where they don't really want to play patiently, but they also want to try and pull members in. So now that they're recognizing that they have to play defensively, it's this weird in between where they're not really sure if they want to go or if they do want to go or how to, operate around the field here. And it's leaving these awkward positionings that I'm just not sure are going to work out for DA here. I still do think that they've got the time. 45 seconds is plenty of time to score a goal, but we need to see some confidence out of DA right now. Dark Allegiance don't look nearly as confident as in game number 3, or even for that matter, game number 1 before we really saw everything play out. Oh my word, we saw such a great DA, but unfortunately, Pledge Swine, even when he takes a banger of a shot, when they finally get that good offense together, Veracity Gaming are still stepping up the bat with the defense. Phenomenal on both halves of the field today for Veracity.
And especially for Reed, we saw the one who came up with that save. I mean, he has really shown off today, but now Jaco trying to fake him out. This will go off the crossbar. Send up high, still a chance. Can Sam G put this one in? No, Blazer is there, and that might do it. One last chance, Jaco. This will be taken away and sent down. Veracity take the series 3-1.
My word.
This one and give the first defeat of the season to Dark Allegiance.
Oh my word, and what a defeat it was. Really, I'm not going to say a completely one-sided series because I do want to give props to Dark Allegiance for not only hanging in there, but keeping the series competitive towards the end there. But very much Veracity came here with a plan and they executed it perfectly. Despite the fact that they did not have Zell on the squad here today, they still executed a nearly perfect 3-man rotation. Everybody was getting involved in all of the plays, and it really didn't look like any player was necessarily assigned to one role or another. And this final game is perfect proof of that. Blazer finishes with 3 saves and 3 shots. Reed finishes with 3 saves and 4 shots. And G-Man finishes with 2 saves and 2 shots. It's one of these things where they're making sure that their stat lines are not just focused on one area, and that perfect 3-man rotation is really what I would say gave them the win here today, Delta. This was an impressive performance out of Veracity Gaming, to say the least.
And getting to assists probably should have only been 1 in a goal as Blazer with that cheeky little goal steal on that just absurd touch from Reed, but still, just all 3 players playing so well in that game for Veracity, and a well-deserved victory for them over a very tough opponent. But I'm sure both these teams now, coming back to Veracity, they still have one more matchup later today, but before that, we do have a couple matches first. And our next match, Bass, you'll be on the call for this one alongside Junior PQ as Fallout and Hashiras.
Talk about a banger of a match. We've been hyping it up all day, and I don't think I can get it any more hype than what we've been talking about. Listen, it's the last 2 undefeated teams now. Dark Allegiance have now been broken. They are no longer undefeated, as Veracity proved here today that they are also a team to watch out for, as they are 2-1 as well now. So another one of those teams going above 500, really setting themselves at the top of the pack. So this is going to be a test of both of these teams. Fallout and Hashiras are 2 of the best teams we've had in the league for quite some time. They come back into the season. Fallout as the champion over Hashiras in the last season. But again, if you remember correctly, Delta, before this season, or before last season, Azel and Hashiras, when they were the Remnants, had taken 2 seasons in a row. So again, this is a team that's been around. They are lethal, they are good, and they are going to prove that here today. they're going to have to step up to the bat, though, because Fallout have looked phenomenal as well this season. So we'll have to find out what happens there. Again, Delta, thank you very much for joining, for coming into the booth with me, my friend. Always a pleasure to cast with you, but it will be unfortunate that we do have to move on without you in our next match.
I will be back later today, but still, just a great match. I wish I would be able to cast it, but still, such fun. So stay tuned for that. We will be back soon.
I ain't feeling lonely, and I wanna admit it's time to end the ride. Fading it too slowly, with those gonna lift me up this time. You were the only one who got me tripping up inside. All the words you told me, am I reading something different from your eyes? See you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. See you, all that I wanted was to tell you that voice is getting nearer. Heart is pumping, thoughts are running wild. We got a good thing going. Why we gotta feel amplified. Stay into the morning. Countless hours spending by your side. You look at me, I'm soaring. Seeing all the truth behind your eyes. See you for a moment, even
All right, cool. I'm getting a little bit worried there, Bass. It's like, oh shoot, we got like 60 seconds until start.
Where? I was like, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Seasonless Shootout. My name is Bass from the past, and join in the booth with me, welcome, Junior. How are you doing today, my friend? It has been quite some time since you and I got to cast, and I could not be happier to be back in the booth with you.
Dude, it's been a while. I'm just happy to be here, and what a matchup we have. We have the final two undefeated teams here in the Octane tier between Hashiras and Fallout. Both these teams 2-0 and respectively first and second in the Octane division. It's going to be an absolute banger of a matchup that I am so incredibly excited for.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, with all good reason. Like you said, both of these teams are still undefeated. Not only are they last two undefeated teams, but this is a rematch of our grand finals for the last season. And if you weren't there for that one, all good, no worries. We hope that you can join us for this season. But in the last season, what we did have happen is we had a bracket reset in the finals, which gave a shot for Hashiras, who had been knocked down to the lower bracket, to try and bring this one back. They could not get the second series done, though, so Fallout took the victory and was able to take home our grand prize. Now we move into this season where the rules are a little bit changed for the end of the season, as well as also, well, it's the beginning of the season, so it's no longer a prize on the line. It's just about making sure you have a good pool, or you have a good play during the season here. And well, so far the teams have 2-0, like you said. They've done well thus far. But this is the time to prove it. This is where you prove that you are the better team, the team that came in to the next season after your winning season, and that you have not only recovered, but you have become better. And, well, Hashiras has kind of done that. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the CRL scene or the bubble scene, but Bits is a player and a half. Bits is now on Hashiras, and he has absolutely been dominant lately. So this is a matchup for the ages, to put it simply, Junior.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be probably one of the matchups I was most excited about when looking at the schedule. Both these teams, they started 2-0, but they've had both a really strong victory and a bit of a weak victory. First of all, Hashiras, they beat Veracity 3-2 in their first week matchup, and Fallout, they beat Speedage 3-2 in their second week matchup. So both of these teams have had a 3-2 scoreline, but immediately before, immediately afterwards, and well, in Fallout's week 1 matchup or Hashiras' week 2 matchup, they won 3-0. They came back, they swept. So they've shown signs of life. It's just really a matter of who comes out on top. We know these teams to be potent. We've seen them in the grand finals of the last season of Seasonal Shootout. It's really going to come down to, like you said, who takes control here, who starts to prove why they are this number 1 ranked team in this division. And quite frankly, I can't imagine a better matchup here on this Valentine's Day to see exactly what we've got planned.
Oh, absolutely. This is the perfect matchup right now. And unfortunately, I don't know how much of this is going to be a love story as much as this might be a hate relationship, where I think these guys might have a little bit of bad blood in the water. Probably all jokingly. I think it's nothing serious, but you definitely know these guys, they're going to be the biggest rivalry probably all season here after the last season of just barely not making it out, as Hashiras were trying to go for the three-peat. Back when they were remnants, they had taken the 2 seasons previously, so three-peat would have been nice, but Fallout stood in the way. So this game today is going to be a real test to both of these teams. It'll be a grudge match for sure. And, well, I just can't wait to get this one started. I believe we've got almost everybody on the field, if I'm not mistaken. I think we might actually have everybody in the lobby. So once we're all good to go, once we've got our producer letting them know, we will start this one up, and it looks like we are just about to do so. Hashira is taking the field, Fallout taking the field, and game number 1 will be underway. Good luck to both of the teams. I'm just excited for this match, Junior.
Yeah, it's going to be a banger. It's all about finding control early here in this game, and this late rotation from Azel. It's going to spell some space for Jonesy. He can't find the double tap, but Unki will up with possession with whatever boost he has left. Some really early possession here at the very beginning for Fallout. As really, well, Hashiras, they struggle to get out of their own half. Finally, they break out. Finally, they start to get something going, and they don't let Fallout break out of their own half. 30 seconds pass, Ledvara finding some space down the field. It's awkward in front of the top of the box. It's a floater towards the backboard, but it won't find the inside of the uprights. Bits to find the clear to get this down towards the midfield, and BJ CJ early in this game, with 40 seconds pass, he'll just take it around his backboard. Ledvara with the save to keep it off the back line. Opportunities for both sides so far, slightly in favor of Fallout. But 50 seconds into this game, Bass, and we've got ourselves a dead-even matchup.
So far, neither team really wants to show all of their cards yet. They're playing a bit more reserved, and I think they just want to see how the other team's going to play, because similar to the last match we just saw, if you make a mistake on the back end, these are two teams that will punish you very, very quickly. Electric striking on both sides, and speaking of punishing... Oh, wait, that one's not on target! I thought we had the long-range shot going in. The demo on the back end from a misrotated... misrotated Fallout was about to go punished, but somehow we remain at a 0-0 score line. Now here comes the offense for Fallout here, as 10 seconds ago I thought we were at a 1-0 score line with Hashira's in the lead, but apparently not.
Yeah, that's just an opportunity you want to get back. You had the demo on the last man rotating back. It was a shot on target, but just a millimeter off the precision that you need to expect from teams of this caliber. Nice shot. Bits trying to cause some confusion. He's unable to do so at the top of the box. He'll regain possession down in the orange corners. He looks to rotate the ball around. That ball, unfortunately, rotating right down to Jonesy's hood. As now we're starting to see some possession for Fallout, as now DJ's sweeping in. That shot will be immediately knocked away. They really can't get anything going as they're trying to force the ball downfield, as they're trying to create these opportunities. We've seen a shot already for Fallout and 2 for Hashiras, but they're unable to do anything with it, and no one's capitalized just yet. It is still anybody's ball game, and these teams are trying to start off swinging.
And it's still a tense match going back and forth across the field here. Each team trying some sort of play and then just retreating immediately to try and get back into defense. So it's going to have to be something explosive. Oh my word, that could... No! Unki, why did you... What? Oh my god, from such a nice play to get around the defense to such a dumb pass. I've got no other words to describe it besides that. There was no need for that final touch from Unki. Azel definitely could have just tapped that one in, but unfortunately they will not, and we remain at a 2-minute mark with a 0-0 score line. I am speechless right now.
Well, even with that missed opportunity for Bits and Azel, I think, we just saw that exact same thing happen between Jonesy and Ledvars. They had another opportunity downfield on the counterattack of, well, not very confident Hashira's team, who's just missed an open net, and then they go out and miss an open net too. It is really so back and forth that both these teams are missing the opportunities that are handed to them on a silver platter, but you're telling me that one goes in? Jonesy gets the last touch in the corner, but Bits somehow redirects this off the goal line into the back of the net, and finally the scoring is opened up.
I don't really know what to say on that one, to be honest. I'm not expecting a shot like that to go in, but hey, you know what? They'll take what they can get, and as we were saying earlier, it sometimes comes down to whichever team just makes a mistake first, and unfortunately, at the moment, looks like it's going to be Hashira's, and not really the time to do so. Minute 20 left in game number 1. This is such an influential game on the rest of the series here, and if Fallout take this first game, you know confidence will be on their side, and we'll see an even more explosive offense in the next game, and, well, they're not done yet. DJ CJ can't get it through, though. Luvara was there for the follow-up, but gets demoed before they can make a touch, but again, you can just see, here comes the confidence for Fallout. They're starting to play well as a unit, and the offense is starting to click. Almost a ridiculous double tap for Luvara, but I don't think they're done on offense quite yet here in game number 1.
The team or the player that I want to see a little bit more out of so far is Hashiras' Azel. I mean, he only has 40 points right now. We've played almost 4 minutes of gameplay. I mean, he's really just not getting involved that much. Same thing can be said for DJ CJ. He's only got 70 points, while his teammates, they carry him with well over 300 points apiece. 30 seconds remaining, and well, Hashiras, they're looking for an equalizer, and they're losing opportunities to do so. Pass down from Unky. He doesn't make contact. Jonesy gets it off his backboard, works it down this left-hand sidewall. He's trying to extend this lead out once more, just wants to put a nail in the confidence of the Hashiras side, but Bits is going to have to take it all the way down to the opposite end of the field. Gets the double tap, looking for the read, can't find it. Azel with the shot, but his shot's knocked away. One final opportunity. It's down here in the orange half, but can Bits get there in time? No, Unky will take up possession instead. Off the backboard, double tap, floating in front of the 6, but no! No member of Hashiras was there, and Fallout will take game number 1 here in this best-of-5 series, where surely we thought Hashiras were going to have themselves a goal at the very end.
I thought Hashiras were going to have a goal at some point there. Maybe not the end, but I thought some point they'd be able to break through. Really is a testament to how efficient their offense was doing when every single shot that they made on target was saved. 4 shots to Unky, 1 to Azel, 5 saves to Fallout, 4 to Luvara, 1 to Jonesy. So it really was one of these things where, as much as this was a good performance out of both teams, it just seemed about as evenly matched as possible. They had an answer for each other on every single shot, except for the one where they own goal. The fact that the own goal is what is separating the two teams is got to be heartbreaking right now for Hashiras. And honestly, for Fallout, you've got to run with that. You know your opponents are going to not necessarily be at the highest for their confidence. You know they're not playing to the perfect efficiency. Run with that. Make them feel vulnerable. Make them feel awkward. Keep playing this pressure offense. If you do so, I think you've got a great shot at this series. But if they give any sort of room in Hashiras in the second match, I don't know how easy it's going to be for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that doesn't show up on that stat sheet is that open net miss by Hashiras. And that's certainly one they're going to want back. We could always say, like, oh, if they had gotten that one goal, they would have won. But no, every decision on the pitch, every minute that is played influences the outcome of what's to come. But surely, if you're a Hashiras fan, if you're a Hashiras player, you're going to be looking at that own goal in the demo later and just realizing, like, what could have been. But Var starting out with some early possession, but Unky takes it away almost immediately. Jonesy, with a soft touch that only meets the bumper of Azel. An opportunity early for Hashiras. They're not able to do anything with it. Pitts tries to take it up for the air dribble, but loses his life because of it. We're starting to see some early possession for Hashiras as Unky will find the opener.
What? How? What? Again, this series has me baffled here today. Jonesy just straight up cannot get to the ball there. DJ CJ wasn't prepared for the miss, and that one will float on in here. Apparently, the only way we're going to get a goal today out of these two teams is going to be in the weirdest ways possible. I'm not necessarily going to complain as it's keeping me on my toes, but definitely not what I expected to start this one off. Oh, here's a chance for a nice solo play, though. Bits, though, can't get around the last defender. Jonesy will then also clear it out to the side, and DJ will try and run with it, but here comes the midfield presence again. Bits actually has no one home, and Unky will get the second touch there. I didn't even realize this. I saw Bits flick this one high, but when I saw that Luvara wasn't really ready for this one, recognized that's an open net, and so did Unky. Slams that one through. All of a sudden, Hashiras, after not scoring the entire first game, are up 2 goals within 45 seconds.
Yeah, Bits just does his weight and more. He does everything he has to do and then goes the extra mile. That's where we see the goal. Unky with the flick over the top. And now, after we have some question for Hashiras' offense in game number 1, Unky, Bits, and Azel have decided to step up, and they found 3 goals now within the first minute of play.
I am speechless. Remember how in the last match we said they had 5 total shots the whole game? Yeah, they have 5 total shots in the first minute now. Yes, they also have 3 goals, but it's very clear the offense just overall has changed here for Hashiras. They make also a good save on the back end to prevent a shot starting out from Fallout, so it does seem like the confidence is back for Hashiras here. They do look like the same team that we had normally seen, and oh my word, when you get passing plays like that to start linking up, really, who is going to stop you right now? Hashiras are on a tear, shot after shot after shot, and They haven't made their 4th goal yet, but honestly, they don't really need to. They just need to keep this pressure up, keep wasting time, and they will take game number 2. But honestly, 3.5 minutes is a lot of time to waste. It's very surprising that they've already gotten to the point where they can do that this quickly.
Absolutely. One thing we're seeing out of Hashiros is the physical play. They're not only going for these shots, but they're trying to take a man with them. That demo by Bits will completely nullify that counterattack. All Azel right now has to do is just get a second touch on the ball. They're not giving, well, the Fallout side any room to breathe, and they're just suffocating them in their own offensive pressure. The demos becoming oh so crucial for creating this space. But still, Fallout are getting some opportunities here. They've got some strings of possession down here in the blue half. This one will most likely fall at the bumper of Jonesy. He'll put it off the backboard. Bits, long clear downfield. It'll hit off the ceiling, so it won't go as far as he would have liked. But immediately, again, Fallout, they start to bounce back. They're starting to get this possession going. They're starting to work the ball down the field, and because of it, we're starting to see, while Hashiras have a 3-goal lead, Fallout are starting to put their foot on the gas once more and bring back this offensive style. Now they're going in with the physical play. DJ CJ with a demo. It's going to float towards the top corner. The defense is speechless as Jonesy finds the first.
That was a perfectly set up play, all around very well done. Luvara out to the middle. DJ is taking out the one goal person who's actually in goal, and as Unki tries to rotate back, doesn't even really jump for that one, recognizes, yep, there's no way I get to that. Just well executed all around. All of the players for Fallout playing well there, and it's given them some life now. I don't necessarily know if they've got the time to make a comeback, as the defense has also stayed strong for Hashiras as well as the offense, but there is a chance here. 2 minutes left and just a little bit of extra time. Definitely an opportunity for Fallout, but they've got to make something count quickly. They need to prove that this is not just a one-off goal. They need the momentum in their favor, and honestly, a 2-0 scoreline is probably going to be needed, as well as Hashiras. If you don't finish them off quickly, they're going to make this a 5-game series, and they are going to bring out every single second they can get. But here comes Fallout. DJ's got a shot, denied by Azel. Unki will try to get the follow-up touch. It's a bit of awkwardness, though. Bits has to try and recover here, but it won't be the end of the offense yet. Again, Fallout's offense really does look remarkable right now. They have not been in their own half in quite some time.
And those 3 goals within the first minute were certainly a slap to the face of Fallout, and it's like they just put their foot on the gas pedal once more. But the problem is that Fallout started complacent. Now Hashiras can play complacent because they have the comfortable lead. There's a minute remaining on the clock. They just have to burn out this clock for as long as they can. They're noticing that a lackluster performance from DJ CJ is opening up opportunities, and the physical play is doing spades for that as well. Opportunities galore here on the backboard. Jonesy will be able to work the ball out, but it's only on the bumper of Azel, the player we needed to step up more in this game. Bits will finish it off, but Azel with the play that puts it right in front of the net.
Again, it's a bit of a weird play overall, as well as DJ CJ. I don't know if you saw, but he was diving underneath there as Jonesy also went for the ball while in the air. So a bit of a misrotation is going to lead to another goal here for Hashiras, and it continues to be this issue for DJ where he just doesn't seem like he's as awake as usual. Again, I've seen DJ play to the absolute highest ability. We saw them win in the last season, so it's definitely a surprise to see DJ at the bottom of the list with only a single shot. Puts in his second now, but again, comes up empty. So definitely not the performance I was expecting here out of Fallout so far. They will take game number 1, which is so important, but game number 2 has been a very different story, as this has been all Hashiras here, both on offense and on defense.
And it's not like Fallout aren't having chances offensively. They have 10 shots right now, and that's more than Hashiras have guaranteed. But you'll notice that the offensive efficiency for Hashiras, it's just leagues better right now. There's 20 seconds remaining on the clock, and if you're Azel under your Bits, you can just sit pretty right now because time is ticking down. There's no chance for your opponents to get back into this game. Now you're starting to focus on the next game. Game number 3, the score is tied at that 1 apiece. Now you need to start working forward because game 3, oh so crucial right now in these best of 5 series where you put yourself on match point with a win or a loss.
And Hashiras taking game number 2, like you said, is just such an important thing for them. They keep themselves in the series. They have the potential to go to game point in the next one. And more importantly than anything, they showed some vulnerability to Fallout, which is not only going to help them mentally, but it's going to take down Fallout as well. When you take such a definitive win in game 1 where it's, back and forth, but you just barely edge it out, and the other team basically sits there going, well, we probably could have changed that, but they held on to a lead for 4 minutes. It's heartbreaking. It hurts. It's hard to deal with. Then to come back and wipe that team out, I mean, you gotta imagine Fallout's probably sitting there a bit unsure of what went wrong in that game. I'd hope that they can see, some of the issues that you and I were talking about, but it's much harder on the field to make those adjustments. And after having what was a winning strategy in game 1 and then just having it go so wrong in game 2, they've got to be a little bit frazzled right now. So for Fallout, they've got to keep themselves in this one mentally. The mental fortitude is going to be such an important thing in this series.
Yeah, and we know that Fallout can play strong offensively. I mean, they had 10 total shots here in game number 2, and they won game number 1, but off of an own goal that was caused by just the crippling pressure that they continue to lay on minute after minute. If they can keep up that pressure, eventually one's going to go in, but one is not enough. They need to keep stepping on the gas. They need to not remain complacent. They do go down, and they equalize this series at 1 apiece, but now it's time to turn on the gas again. It's time to get cooking because it's the crucial game that will determine the control here in this series.
Here we go. 5 minutes on the clock. Both teams on the field, and already Hashira is off to a banger of a start. Bits will take a shot, but Luvaro will be there. Azo wanted the double tap off the backboard. Oh, but DJ CJ, that was an open net. We had a full commitment out of Hashira's, and unfortunately, Fallout could not punish. Oh, maybe just not quite yet. They're still on offense here. Jonesy will actually have to retreat, and that will be the end of it. But, oh, Junior, that was one of the best opportunities so far, and Fallout really could have swung the momentum in their favor very early in game number 3.
Yes, certainly they could have found that opening goal, which is so crucial here in these incredibly difficult games where you know that it's only going to be based off of you scoring on your opponent's mistakes. You need to find those opportunities when they count. We're starting to see some possession for Fallout here, right around the midfield, as they don't let Hashira's break out of their own half. Jonesy stepping in, touch over the top. It's going to hit the crossbar. Ledvar with the follow-up into the top corner. They will find the opener, and they begin to swing the pendulum in their favor.
Oh my word, this was a very well executed play. No wasted touches there. Jonesy pops it off the back, baits out Unky for that final touch, and then it is shot on in by Ludvara. Just well played out of Fallout, and honestly, I dare say that's probably the best play we've seen them make in at least a game here. Definitely a lot more efficient on the offense than we'd seen previously. My concern, though, is, again, you see Luvara as the last one back there. Sometimes when you start making these efficient plays on offense, it can be at the cost of your defense. And right now, it really does look that way for Fallout. A scramble on the back half as Hashira's mounts the pressure, and it really all started from that one play where Luvara was left by themselves.
Incredibly quick play for Azel, though, as he jumps up right at the top of the 6 and just angles that right off the crossbar. So hard to read there, but they find the equalizer with about 90 seconds played. We've got ourselves a ball game. It's, again, about who takes control here because they are fighting tooth and nail right now. He will find himself with possession to use all of his boost just to get to the bumper of DJ. Jonesy pass out to Ledvar, who really wasn't ready for that, wasn't ready to step up that quick, wasn't ready to commit on the third-man rotation. Unky has to come up big off the backboard. DJ CJ keeping this possession in. It's the hit in the corner that caused that own goal, which led to the demise of Hashiras in game number 1. And so far, their corner control has been so much better. We're starting to see possession down on either side of the field as both teams find success in every avenue you would expect, but the score remains tied at 1 apiece, and we're looking for a victor here with 3 minutes left to play.
Ooh, that could separate here. Bits tries to slot one by. Azel, though, will have the follow-up touch and will continue this offense. Maybe momentarily, though, as it's a bit of a weird touch at Azel. 2 weird touches in a row. Somehow he will find Bits, but apparently it just looks like we're getting more time for both teams right here. I was actually going to mention it for Shira's first because I noticed it on their half, but both teams are giving way more time for these offenses to get set up. They're just leaving these balls in dead man area where no one is really there. So they've got to try and cut down this space. Both teams are getting this time to set up these offense because of that. So if you cut down the space, if you play with a bit more pressure, this becomes a much more one-sided affair. The question is which team recognizes this first, because really whichever team steps up the pace and puts on that pressure, I have a feeling will win game number 3.
And it feels like we're seeing a slightly more aggressive game number 1 where the teams, they're getting opportunities, but so far it's been relatively safe. We haven't seen anything too risky that's led to a double commit, that's led to a demo. But so far, the score remains equal, both teams succeeding on both offense and defense. 3 saves apiece for both Hashiras and Fallout. And now there's a minute 40 remaining, and you're trying to get back into this game because the score is equalized, but now you need to find that winner. Double tap opportunity for Unky. Aza will step in. No, he'll leave it for Bits. Keep it over here on this side while continue to play safe as they continue this pressure down in the orange half where the ball seems to have not left for quite a while.
I'm still a bit surprised by what we're seeing when it comes to his timing there. I started counting after that one touch. It took 6 seconds for any player to touch the ball from going from the Fallout half into the Hashira's half. So, again, it's this space. There's just so much space here that doesn't need to be there. Bits is going to separate it finally off of taking advantage of that space. Again, Jonesy got the demo on Unky, but really Bits had an open net afterwards. I think a player got demoed for Fallout, but where's the third man in the rotation there? No one was back. Easy goal, and Hashira's will take the lead with only a minute remaining.
If I'm not mistaken, it actually was a 1v3. I think Fallout got both demos. The problem is that they got one demo downfield and one demo in their backline. Because of that, it just left everything to shoot for Bits. They were completely out of sorts. And now we see Hashiras with a 1-goal advantage here. Time is ticking down, and opportunities are running thin. Budvar, he'll find himself with some possession over here on this left-hand side. He's got no boost, has to try for the 50 instead, or Aza will receive successfully. Just has to 50 this out, just has to make sure that they don't grant any free opportunities over to Fallout, because 30 seconds remain. You have a 1-goal advantage, whether by a stroke of luck or by a stroke of geniusness. And time is ticking down. But Fallout, they have possession. That is until Unky can break them out of their own half. Bits stepping in, getting the touch, keeping it down in the orange half for the time being. But Luvara comes down the field, and Jonesy's looking for a pass to put Unky awkward. But Azel with the crucial touch burns so much time off the clock. 5 seconds burned, and there's no opportunity downfield. Luvara, long shot downfield. DJ will try to follow. He's got the shot, but he's got no boost to Shiras. They take game number 3, and they take a 1-game advantage, but in the most crucial of spaces, because now they're on match point.
They're on match point, and they're definitely on match point against a Fallout, which doesn't seem like the usual Fallout. Something is, I don't know what it is. Maybe they're just trying out a different rotation here today, but it looks very different than what I'm used to when I watch Fallout, which is Fallout is a little bit more, I would say, precise in what they do is maybe the best word to use here. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it just doesn't seem to be there today. They're giving plenty of space to their opponents, and they're giving so much pressure up that they could continue on. 6 total shots is not a bad shot total, but to be honest, when you only end up with 1 goal and it really didn't look like you had 6 shots, 6 shots was honestly surprising to me. It doesn't feel like that offense is there. So there's got to be something different out of Fallout. I think they've got the ability. I absolutely believe that we're going to a game 5 here, but the changes need to happen quickly. If they give another early lead to Hashiras, if they give Hashiras a chance to run away with this thing, they're going to immediately. So this is going to be an interesting one for Fallout. They need to try and bring this one back, and they need to prove that they're not only the team that won last season, but they're the team that can win this season as well, because this is definitely not the type of Fallout I'm used to seeing, and I really do believe they can play at an even higher level than we're seeing so far.
And for Fallout, there was all aboard the Lutvara backpacking trip as he had more points than both of his teammates combined. And you can't have that scenario in a game as tight as this. Unky shot off the sidebar. It doesn't quite find the back of the net, but some strong opportunities starting off very early. Azel stepping in, trying to stop Jonesy right here, but Jonesy will get another touch over the top. Lutvara finding his possession down in the corner. It's going to pinch up awkwardly and get the corner steal. As the possession begins to mount for Fallout, and as well Hashiras, they begin to scramble on defense. The ball hasn't left their half in about 15 seconds now, and they're starting to run out of boost. Pass off the backboard. Bits is there to get it away. DJ CJ able to stop that in midfield. He's only got 1 to beat. Has to put it by Bits, but Bits stands strong. And they find the demo at the midfield to at least halt this counterattack for the time being.
Only halt it for a moment, though. Here keeps coming the pressure. This is definitely a better Fallout than we had seen previously. You can just tell that they are here and they are ready to play. They are electric, whipping it around the field here. Pace is entirely in their favor, and part of that is I do believe that they're starting to recognize the time that Hashiras are giving them. See how much time Azel takes on that one. They are able to set up, get prepared, and wait for it, and get ready on the defense. So it's very different here. Hashiras want to try and play with the space and the patience that they had in the last game, but I just don't think that Fallout is going to allow for that. And for that reason, we might be seeing a Game 5 here, Junior.
Yeah, I mean, we see all the momentum right now in Fallout's course. DJ's shot will be tucked away by Azel, but again, that doesn't take away from the amount of pressure that we've seen from Fallout so far. Really, it's a miracle that Hishira's even have 3 shots because Fallout's been on offense for so much of this game. It's just going to find himself some space. It's going to bounce awkwardly off the corner. Luvar just has to put it off his crossbar just for the time being. Azel's touch, throwing off his teammate, but he's going to find some space before Ludvara steps in and says, no more ball possession for you. Bits will take this up in the air, just trying to work this over to the midfield. But one problem I'm noticing out of the Hashira side is it feels like they get all the way down the field into the attacking third, and then they run completely out of boost, and they have nowhere to go. Because, well, they can't jump in the air, they can't exactly rotate quickly, and because of that, they lose all of that speed and momentum they had just spent so much time building in the first place. This touch by Azel, it's down to Unky, but Azel will get it away finally after that save right on the goal line. More and more attempts for Fallout here as the pressure begins to suffocate Hashira's, and it's only a matter of time before we see a goal.
I mean, it's just the same sort of strategy over and over again right now we're seeing on Hashira's, where they kind of set up the play, they make sure that it's a nice pass into the center, and then no one does anything with it. Bits is going to take a shot here, but look how lackluster the shot is. Like you said, it's because he had 7 boosts to finish that play off. It's one of these things right now where we're just not seeing Hashira's with the same sort of lethal offense as before, and I think part of that is because they had gotten so comfortable with the offense they had previously. In the last couple games, they were fine to throw stuff off the backboard and then wait to get the follow-up shot. Now Fallout have cut out that space. They do not have that room to breathe anymore, and as a result, Hashira's are not getting the same opportunities. So if Hashira's can't adapt quickly, I do agree with you that Fallout are going to take the first score of this game, but again, we've gone 3 minutes without a goal, so it's very possible that we see an error out of Fallout and all of a sudden Hashira's make it through, but we're going to have to find out. Here comes Fallout on offense yet again. Maybe this time they can crack open the score line, but not quite. Azo will dodge the demo and make the save, and we remain at 0-0 with only about a minute 30 remaining.
You know, it's very clear that Fallout has made adaptations in this game. They've absolutely neglected that backfield defense. They've made it negligible. And now the problem is that, well, when one door closes, another door often opens because you can only keep the control in one area for a little bit of the time, because if you focus on backboard defense, that leaves you vulnerable on the ground. And because of that, Hashira's are going to need to find that opening now that is, well, seemingly still in the dark, but there's certainly an opening somewhere. Unky taking this towards the top of the box. Ludvara will get it away, and DJ will regain possession right here on the backboard. Passes just in the middle, and really they're using a lot of boost to just really not get the ball that far out. It's going to be a mistake. It's off the post. Bits puts it home, and exactly what you're talking about, Bass. It was a mistake out of Fallout that really just secured the opener for Hashira's.
Oh, and it's just such an unfortunate one because it was one that maybe could have been recovered after the poor touch in the back third for, I believe it was Jones. He put that one up. Ludvara tried to go for the squishy save to maybe try and prevent the double tap, but unfortunately, if you're going to have the squishy save like that and you're going to try it so early, you need another teammate behind you who can back you up, and without, I believe it was DJ CJ being in net, basically an open net for a shot out of Hashira's, and well, they're not going to miss that, and unfortunately, this is not the time for Fallout to give opportunities like we're seeing here. Ludvara going to make another save, but again, this defense is starting to look a bit lackluster here. Before this, we had seen the pace, we'd seen the power, but as we're getting down to the last 15 seconds, Fallout are looking a bit shaky here. Hashira seem to have their confidence back.
Yeah, and they've got 10 seconds to go the entire length of the field. This is no longer the time for safe rotations. Hashira's looking to take this series. It's going to be one more opportunity. Looking for the bump on the backboard. Unky gets it out. Ludvara with the follow-up, but the perfect air dribble from Unky is going to spike the ball directly into the ground. Hashira's will take this series in 4 off the back of a mistake by Fallout in crunch time when it all mattered most.
Hey, you know what? To be fair, I mean, it's a bit of a flip of the script of the first game. This is the only way. It was just inevitable. We gotta. I'm not gonna say karma, but you know, it's a one own goal for one own goal, or one error for one error. However you really want to look at it. Game number 1, Fallout were barely able to take it in a 1-0 score line, where it was an unfortunate touch out of Bits into their own net. Now here at the final game, Hashira's are going to get lucky off of a missed touch from Jonesy in the back half, and then a missed save out of Ludvara, and they will take the 1-0 score line. So listen, maybe not the scoreline or the games we wanted to see because there were some errors that weren't really what we would hope for out of the top 2 teams in the league, but this is proven for sure These two teams are about as even as it gets. If you thought that the top competition was going to be a one-sided affair, you are unfortunately sorely mistaken. So I promise to you, the audience, I promise to you as well, Junior, this is going to be two teams you have to keep a watch of. They are going to be electric the rest of the season, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them in the finals again this season.
Yeah, Hashira's just after that first error, it's like they just tightened all the screws up on their defense. They bounced back, they got the games that they needed to, and they got that offensive pressure that they were looking for. They were shooting shot after shot on net, and finally they were turning in after a lackluster offense at game number 1. I think that's going to do it from our coverage of this first game, and I think that's going to do it for you in the booth, Bass. We're going to be joined by Delta in the next matchup when we cast PDHM Academy and Speedage in our third matchup of the day. Hashiras go to 3-0 and Fallout fall to 2-1. Hashiras takes that first place spot, but when we come back, we've got PDHM Academy versus Speedage and a 4th place versus 7th place matchup that you don't want to miss.
I'm on my own, broken to love. You can't so sincere. Turn gray skies to blue. You won't ever change your ways, doing what you do. Well, you can keep on talking, no one thing don't mean nothing, the same old thing again. Well, I guess you best go walking, guess this time I'm not joking, I've been on this again and again.
Make it for me. Whatever.
Gaming League for Norway. Force me to download. Yeah, we ready.
Hello and welcome back here for more Week 2 Action Seasonal Show. Once again, my name is Delta, joined by Junior P Cubed. And we had great first two matches of the day, and we still have two more great ones to go.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a matchup between PDHM Academy and Speedage. PDHM is the 4th ranked team at 2-1, and Speedage has only played 2 matches, but they are 1-1. It's going to be a banger of a matchup. PDHM, we know from their prowess in last week's matchup against EV Horizon, they know how to put on the pressure and they know how to not let up. And Speedage, while they did have a close loss to Fallout, who we watched be a very resilient team in the last game that we just broadcasted with Bass, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a hard matchup for both of these teams as they try to take control here in this Octane tier leaderboard.
This will also be the first time on stream we're going to be seeing the full starting roster for PDHM Academy. Last week they did have their sub Fallen in. This week they will have all three, Ryan, Popo, and Nitrix, playing in this game, going up against a strong Speedage team we saw. We saw earlier when they, in that, as I've mentioned before, the tournament we had in the offseason with Frontline, the first one, they won that, beating Fallout twice to take the title there. So this is a team that, has very, high hopes as well, and a team that a lot of people, had hopes with, because these are three extremely skilled players in Skiboy, Ruffles, and G Pepper.
Yeah, they've got an average MMR or average peak MMR around 1900, or I guess it's the high 1900s, closer to like 1990, 2000 MMR. PDHM, they're a bit lower on the MMR spectrum. They've got an average right around 1800, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to be showing up, bringing all of the heat that they can. It's going to be an absolute clanger of a series as we're getting ready to hop in. And honestly, Delta, what do you have for this? Because we watched PDHM last week. We know that PDHM can be a strong team. Who do you have winning this game?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, part of it is we haven't had as much experience with this new PDHM roster. Personally, I'm going to give it towards Speed, is who I would think. But really, I think for me, I just am excited to see what this new roster for PDHM Academy will bring when they're at their full strength in terms of who's on the field.
Yeah, it's game number 1 of match number 3 on our day here at the seasonal shootout, and Nitrix starting out with some early possession down in his corner, obviously warranted by the fact that PDHM have been shoving the ball down their throats here in this first 30 seconds. They'll intercept the ball at midfield, but that'll be immediately stuffed. Skiboy with the shot, but no! He hits it further backwards than he does closer towards the net he wishes to score on. And this full-strength PDHM squad that now is not playing with their sub has seen themselves in an incredible amount of pressure. Ruffles finds the opener, as well the rotations for PDHM are just a bit off.
And that double commit, and we see almost a second one too off the demos. We just Nitrix, and I'm not sure was that Ryan or Popo. I want to say Ryan, just in the exact same spot as each other, and leaving the net open. And just an easy follow-up finish for Ruffles.
That's a great goal. It's a great opener against a well-talented PDHM Academy side. But now we go back again, as there is a 1 on the scoreboard for the orange side. But now for PDHM, you're looking to bounce back. You're looking to get this ball down the field. And this is some good start in the right direction. Popo off the backboard, looking for the double tap, but no! Ride with the follow-up. G Pepper saves it off the goal. An incredible save to keep it out of the back of his own net. For the time being, and send the ball down on the counterattack.
Now as you see Popo just trying to get something going here. I mean, we're still early, but right now only 1 shot for PDHM compared to, make that 2 compared to the 3 for Speed. It's just as I'm saying that, it becomes a bit closer, but still trying to get a chance here as Nitrix just running out of boost, can't get back to that ball. Could have had a great opportunity to get anything left in the tank.
Yeah, we've seen about 90 seconds of Rocket League so far. That demo by G Pepper will completely erase his possession towards the attacking third. Popo will find some possession down here in the corner. They've got a goal to find, but they have plenty of time to do it. Ryan looking to start that off quicker than normal. But he won't find it. Beautiful save by G Pepper, but they aren't able to leave their half. Here comes Popo, floating this one through the air. Ryan's up, looking for the shot. On target, but it's off the post. Nitrix with the follow-up to 50, almost strong enough to beat Ruffles, but the chips don't break as of yet. Popo trying to get this ball around the midfield, trying to get these opportunities going when they seem to have the lion's share of the pressure in their own court so far. As we cross halftime, these teams duking it out right now, trying to take control because this lead is certainly not safe for Speedage.
It is a 1-goal lead in Rocket League. It is basically nothing. As long as you have the ball in the air, or time the clock, either one, you can get back to that. It's that second goal, that insurance goal is so important. It's a 1-goal lead can evaporate like that, and even if one team is able to, it can just take a quick turn. I mean, we've seen some strong defense from the side of Beach here, especially from G Pepper, but it just takes 1 goal. Right now, though, it's about a possession game, and we're seeing a strong job of that right now from Speech, keeping this ball away from PDHM Academy.
One thing I'm noticing right off the back is the boost management for Speedage. They have complete control of the midfield boost, and that's letting them to rotate quick around these boost pads. Because they have control, they're allowed to get these shots. G Pepper's going to follow it up. Ruffles, his shot goes awry, but you'll just notice that all of the boost seems to be running out for PDHM because as soon as they get out of their own half, they spend a lot of boost but do absolutely nothing. G Pepper and company, they're not letting them out of their own half. They're keeping up this pressure. They're stepping on the gas, and they've got 1 goal because of it. Let's see if they can find a second. A minute 12 remaining on the clock as Popo again tries to break out of his own half, but Nitrix will have to step up instead right at that midfield point just to get it all the way down. Try to get some opportunities going because there's 60 seconds remaining, and they need 1 goal to tie it up.
1 goal, but it's right now they have not been able to break through this Speech team, and it seems like at every turn they've been met, as Skiboy will make it harder with a 2nd goal for his team.
It just seemed like Ryan got a bit overzealous with stepping up. Popo's whiff around the top of the box means that Ryan has to step in incredibly quickly or stay back. And that third man for PDHM was not quite ready, was not back for that, and it's just an easy shot for Speedage. As they find the second and they make this mountain a little bit harder to climb for PDHM.
Nitrix will try to send this one on target. G Pepper does a nice job on the backboard. Right now, it just seems like at every turn, even though the Shadows, as this one almost able to get in, Ruffles coming up with the huge save.
Yeah, for me, it just seems like the two crucial X factors right now are the rotations for Speedage are so incredibly immaculate. They're not giving up space. They're keeping complete control of the field, and it's really starting to confuse this PDHM Academy side as they continue to bring this pressure, as they continue to at least accept it, because they can't really break out of it. Ryan with a follow, but his shot doesn't go in. That could have been a huge boost of confidence, but he doesn't find it. This ball will hit the ground, as all of this now is just a formality. 0 seconds remaining on the clock. The ball will hit the ground, and Speedage will take game number 1 here in this best-of-5 series.
Really just, even though 2-0, they seem more down. I mean, the numbers, if we look at it, 10-7 the shots, it does feel like things, at least on paper, look closer than what they might have actually been.
Yeah, statistics-wise, I mean, there were 10 shots for Speedage to 7 shots of PDHM Academy, so it's not like they weren't getting any opportunities downfield. They were just unable to convert them, and it's something that that Bass and I talked about in the last series, is that really PDHM was using a lot of boost to get the ball all the way down the field, but once they got all the way down the field, they didn't have any boost anymore because they don't have control of those midfield big boosts. And because of that, that leaves them in an opportunity where they can't really find a goal. Sure, they found 7 shots. Sure, they were able to stop 4 of the 10 shots for Speedage. But now you need to start finding goals, because defense will win you championships. But right now you need to win games, and you need to find those goals in order to go up, because you can't win if you don't score.
For sure, and it really was a lot of it. Yes, they had those shots, but they weren't always the best shots. They were a lot of shots that were just easy saves. There were a couple where we saw, especially Jeeper, making some huge saves, some difficult saves, but more often than not, these were not challenging shots. And if you can't really put the pressure on your opponents, which a lot of it does come down to the fact that they were trying to make these shots with little to no boost, you're going to have a tough time scoring.
Well, we're underway here in game number 2, and we got questions for PDHM. We'll hopefully find the answer here in this game. But Ski Boy's starting out with some early possession, looking for the double tap. He won't find the angle. Ruffles with a follow-up. Popo has to sweep in to get the epic save off his goal line. Early shots already for Speedage right now as PDHM, they try to bolster down the other end of the field. Nice shot, but it's saved off the crossbar for Ski Boy. It's 2 opportunities in rapid fire. G Pepper will find the advantage.
And turning defense into offense, an amazing save, and just the entire team pushed up for PDHM. G Pepper able to just perfectly get around that ball, sending it in. No chance for the defense on that one. And not even 30 seconds in, and Speech has struck first.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen 4 total shots for both teams across the board, 50% of the shots going to each of these sides. But the crucial one is that the 1 goal has been found for Speedage, and they continue on this offensive pressure as they don't let PDHM break out of their own half. Nitrix was looking for a bump there, but that's going to catch him out of rotation. It's rolling up on that bottom waterfall right on the post. Nitrix able to safely deliver that one out of harm's way. But still, a minute left on the clock, or 4 minutes left on the clock. Ruffles' shot actually will float into his own corner, as it wasn't Ruffles who took the shot initially. It was Nitrix, but Ruffles puts it home.
Ruffles, I mean, if one say it was him trying to get a save, he was definitely caught out of position on that one. Really just doing whatever he could to try to get around to that, trying to send it away from the net. Unfortunately, just couldn't quite do it, but that will lead to a tie game as PHM Academy finally able to put one on the board here.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just that 1 goal that you need to get that confidence moving forward. They've proven now that Speedage are not unbreakable, that their defense is not a complete stone wall that they won't be able to get rid of. The problem is they've proven that their defense isn't a stone wall, but their offense continues to be unrelenting. It seems like Popo and Nitrix are on the back line almost all of the time. They're not able to rotate people forward to get these opportunities downfield. Nice touch by Ski Boy down into the corner. Popo's going to take a follow-up shot. Ruffles will be there for that one. He'll keep it off his crossbar, but possession remains now for PDHM as finally Speedage will break out, but yet another opportunity uncapitalized upon for the 5 shots so far that PDHM has taken.
And still coming down boost management, we're seeing they are starting to get these players in position, but it's still at times in position without the boost to do anything with it. And that is honestly going to be the one thing that they really need to focus on to try to take it, as that one almost going to go in for the Ski Boy. Ryan, but Speech cannot. Ryan will get the long clear.
Not only did he didn't find that follow-up shot, it looked like one of the members of Speedage took a shot that caught G Pepper off guard, and now he rotated, and that's why PDHM were even able to break out of pressure in the first place. But thankfully, this opportunity should be starved for Ruffles. Keeping this ball, though, in the top of the 18. They're going to need to break out soon because PDHM, well, they seem to be on their back foot for the majority of this game. And while the shots are relatively even, that's not how the scoreline is presenting itself. Finally, a long touch downfield is going to roll into the bottom left-hand corner. PDHM find a one-goal advantage with 2:15 left to play.
So far, both of these goals from the side of PHM come off of overcommitments by Speedage. They've had their bit times where they've been able to find their opponents just too far up, and it seems like the defense, yes, it is incredibly strong for Speedage when they're in position, but they're starting to fall out of position at times, and PDHM is recognizing that and capitalizing.
Yeah, the cracks in Speedage's defense is starting to show, and that's really not something you want to see in game number 2 of this series, where you have a one-game advantage already. Ryan on the dribble. He'll be able to get this out to Nitrous, but Ruffles immediately steals it away, keeping it here at the top of the 18. They're not able to break out as, again, that midfield boost control ever so crucial. Look at Popo. He works the ball all the way down the field, but he runs out of boost almost immediately after getting it out of his own half. If they can't control this midfield boost, if they can't get things working, they're going to continue to be on this offensive onslaught from the Speedage sides. As this one rolls all the way down the field, Ruffles' shot won't find the back of the net, but G Pepper up quick, keeping it in possession, keeping it around this top of the box for PDHM, and not giving them any space to work with.
Unfortunately, they're actually coming off of the demo, getting the respawn perfect time, able to get there and control that ball when it did not go in. Now G Pepper
towards the backboard. He's not going to be able to find the shot as Popo was there, able to knock it away. Ruffles keeping possession. We're seeing so much pressure out of the Speedage side that if you were watching this game and the scoreboard was hidden, you would think that Speedage would be in the lead because they've got the pressure, they've got the shots, they're just not able to find that equalizing goal.
It just seems like that's the story. It's yes. Some of the issues that we've seen from PHM in terms of boost management, it hasn't been fixed. But it's more of it, they haven't needed to. It's Speedage, their offense, when it's working, is great, but they've been given too much to PHM. They've started to, figure out the defense now, and the offense just, at times, pushing too much, or not enough. They just aren't able to get what they were able to in game 1.
8 seconds now remaining, and you've probably got one more opportunity if you are on the Speedage side. They will keep this ball in the air, but they have to go the entire length of the field. That pass down to Ski Boy, at least a step in the right direction. Popo keeping it down here in the orange half. It probably will hit the ground. No, by some stroke of luck, it doesn't hit the ground. They keep it floating right above their box. Ryan looking for a fall, looking to just shut down the Speedage side, but a bump at the top of the box for Speedage means that they can't work the ball down, and PDHM equalized the scoreline at 1 apiece.
And equalized also shot totals, 6 for each team. Really even, as we were saying, on paper this was an even matchup in this game. It did seem like Speedage had the possession, but they just weren't able to get the quality of shots they had in game 1. And they weren't as disciplined defensively as they were in game 1. And I think that's really what made the difference.
No, absolutely. I think for sure the discipline on the defense, exactly what you're saying. I think that's spot on. Because Speedage's rotations in game number 1 were incredibly strong because they were able to not leave opportunities for PDHM to get space, to get possession, to start to dominate down the field. But Speedage, the rotations, they seemed like to get a little bit complacent as they started to be lackluster with the rotations and start to just mosey on back and not be as quick, not keep those rotations as tight. And when you have a team atmosphere, rotations are oh so crucial to making your offensive scheme work. Speedage just unable to do that. Sure, they controlled the midfield boost. Sure, they were able to equal PDHM on opportunities downfield. But the core problem remains is that they did not score enough goals to find the advantage in game number 2. And they find themselves now in effectively a best of 3 against a team that we know is incredibly strong. We've watched them play incredibly fast throughout the league. And now we're seeing PDHM Academy turn on the gas.
Will they be able to keep it up though as we get into this game number 3 and Popo cannot get through G Pepper. Ryan will send it in.
Taking over control around the midfield spot. Nitrix with the saddle on the hood of his car. He's right there. He's just trying to buy time. He knows that the ball's inevitably going to get stolen from him, but he can delay how long that is. That touch by Ryan. Down to Popo. Pinch over the top. Ruffles is awkward, but he'll keep it off his backboard. I thought for sure we were going to see a game like that, or a goal at least to open us up, because these teams have been so strong on offense. It's just a matter of whose pressure cracks first. Nice demo into the backfield. Ski-Boy's going to have a free opportunity, and Popo, his angle a bit too acute, as Ski-Boy turns one in with 45 seconds passed.
And the defensive rotation just breaking down there as we see Popo and Nitrix both having to rush in and quickly find their spots, but at that moment it's already too late.
45 seconds have passed, and if you're PDHM, you're starting to get a little bit nervous as you've seen Speedage. They've gotten the opening goal now. Now you're fighting from behind. Ryan's touch keeps it around midfield as they're not able to break out of possession just yet, as they're not able to work the ball down the field and really get an opportunity. As we start to see these Speedage rotations tighten up, PDHM begin to ask the same questions as they found in game number 1. How do we score when our opponents are rotating as perfectly as they are? Nitrix almost finds the answer, but it's like the answer was B and he chose A, just one off the multiple choice. As Speedage, they continue on with this opening goal with 90 seconds past. They're looking to apply this pressure even further.
And this is when they're able to keep the pressure going, when they're able to keep the ball away from PDHM. It's not giving these opportunities and making it so that when they do finally lose possession, it's in a situation where Speedage defense is already back. As we saw, both goals in the last game coming off of times when PDHM was able to catch Speedage defense before they could get back, and it was because they weren't able to have this midfield dominance that was so successful in game 1, and game 3 right now is starting to look more like game 1 than game number 2.
Yeah, Speedage, they have the opener. They're sitting from a place of comfort right now, but this lead anything but safe. G Pepper gonna take it all the way down the field. Looking for the 50. Will keep control down here in the blue half for the time being. And that weird bump will put it on the goal line. It's incredibly awkward, but the touch will be good enough to get the ball out to start working possession. And with a little bit less than half the game left to play, here comes Speedage again. They're not letting PDHM Academy get any kind of opportunities downfield. It's starting to show in the stat line.
Sure, and it is. It's right now 3 shots to 4 in favor of Speedage. It is close. Though right now it's just as Nitrix barely able to get to that one, prevent a 2-0 deficit. Ski-Boy just high follow from Ruffles will not find the inside of the post.
Yeah, and all 3 members, with the exception of Ryan for PDHM, were completely low on boost. It'll be fair that he's the one who goes up for that, but really, Popo had 12, Nitrix had 8. Incredibly dangerous scenario. It's one of those things where we look at, because we can move around, we can see the boost of everybody on the field at one point. But if you're Speedage, that's an opportunity you're going to want to get back. You surely didn't know how low of boost your opponents were. Because of that, an opportunity goes away. Nitrix taking up possession now. Right-hand side of the field. Puts it over one, but gets bumped out. Possession will remain down here in the orange half, as now it's Speedage who struggle to get anything out, I say. Right as a perfect clear, switches the field of play and gets G Pepper some time on the ball.
Now off the backboard, G Pepper does a great job keeping it in front of the net. Ruffles able to force it through, and what a goal for Speedage.
Yeah, G Pepper's touch just stalls it on front or on top of the backboard, and well, all you have to do if you're Ruffles or Ski-Boy is just attack the net with whatever velocity you have left in your boost tank, because you're going to get a strong 50. Your defense is obviously outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned right there. You just have to put that one in, and they do. And they find the 2-goal advantage now as they look to take control here in this series. Nitrix shot tucked away by G Pepper as it floats down here in the orange half still. And as PDHM, they're unable to find the opportunities necessary, while their counterparts in Speedage, they're finding the demos, and they've got a 3-goal advantage.
This is really looking similar to game number 1. This PDHM team is struggling when they're behind. This is a team that wants to play from ahead or play, more even when they have that chance, when they can try to, force their opponents to get aggressive, because that's when they've been most successful, when they've been able to force Speed into over-aggressing. And right now, when Speed is getting these leads, they have no reason to over-aggress, and they're not.
Yeah, I think what Speedage's problem is that when they have games like this, like game 1, now game number 3, where they have so much control and their rotations are perfect, it's like they go into the next even-numbered game overconfident. And they start saying like, oh, like, we were able to score like this in the first game, let's go for this opportunity again. Nitrix going to take advantage of a bit of pandemonium in the corner, and he's going to find the first goal for PDHM, but is it a little bit too little too late?
Definitely pandemonium the right word. G-Pepper literally taking his own teammate out of the play on that one. Definitely not what you would want to be seeing, but too little too late may be it, as under 20 seconds still needing 2 goals. It's tough to see that happening.
Yeah, and again with this onslaught from the Speedage side, they're not able to have any opportunity, PDHM Mart, and they're going to put themselves on match point now. Speedage are going to have the advantage, but I'm looking to see if we see in game number 4 a little bit of what we saw in game number 2, because Speedage's advantage has been their defensive rotation, but it's been in these even number games in game number 2 where we saw, well, Speedage kind of fall apart and their rotations get a little bit sloppy, and that's why PDHM, they even have a game on the board right now. You think if you saw this game, it was currently 2-0, but no, it's 2-1, and Speedage have the advantage.
And they really pushed that advantage on the shot total in this game, going ahead 10-4. I mean, really just dominating in the offensive pressure department on this one, and this has really been the story almost the whole series. PDHM has not put up a ton of offensive pressure. When they're successful, it's not from that pressure, it's when they're able to just get these quick, almost just goals that are just freebies because of forcing an overcommitment.
Yeah, and it's when you start to get a little bit too overconfident, when you start to work your game plan in a way that's a bit too risky, that's when you start to open up this net for opportunities. So now if you're Speedage, you've got yourself, you had yourself a comfortable win in game number 3. You've got yourself a 2-1 advantage in this series. Now you've got to start to bounce back, because what we saw in game number 2 was, or in game number 1 was a strong showing from Speedage, and then a weak showing in game number 2. Speedage are going to have to keep their foot on the gas here, keep up the pressure for as long as they can, because time for them is running out, and you don't want to give PDHM more opportunities than you can handle.
As we're waiting, it seems like one player is, never mind that. As I was saying that, we did have that player join in, so.
Yeah, we've got everybody here. We're ready for game number 4, and right now, Speedage, they have the 2-game advantage right now. They have everything in their own cards, and now it's just about keeping that pressure up and keeping these defensive rotations solid. Game number 4 here, PDHM looking to send us to game number 5, while Speedage are looking to take this series in 4. Early saves from Popo, keeping it off his goal line, and a long clear as well will mean he does his weight in gold and even more.
Nitrix trying to push this one in. Instead, Ruffles able to get clear out, but only as far as Popo. We're starting to see a bit more pressure now from PHM Academy that we really weren't seeing in the first 3 games. Will it lead to goals, though? That is yet to be seen.
Nice opportunity for Ski-Boy off the backboard. Ryan's going to swoop in and flip that ball out, but again, it's only as far as midfield. You can watch as the Speedage players rotate back. They almost always get a back corner or they get a midfield. And because of that, 60% of the boosts are gone, and now, well, PDHM, they're unable to get out. Look, that right boost for Ryan, he's unable to find it. They're going to find an opportunity. Nitrix is going to have a shot, but you're going up against a well-oiled Speedage team that has plenty of boost to work with. That won't matter for Nitrix as he takes a hammer to the engine and finds the opener.
And we're getting these plays that we weren't seeing, these perfect team passes. Popo finding Nitrix, just sitting in front of the goal, able to get for that one, burying it, and now, with the lead, can PHM Academy stick to how they want to play? Can they make this game go in their favor? Can they force Speedage into more of these overcommitments?
And that's the first shot in total for PDHM, and they use it incredibly efficiently. They find the goal on their first real opportunity. Now Speedage, we talked about the rotation starting to get a little bit lackluster at the beginning of these games, but now you've conceded the opener, and now you kind of have to go as far in as you can because, well, 90 seconds have passed, and your opponents, who just dominated in game number 3, have started to bounce back. They've got the offense going. They've got things working out in their favor. They're starting to feel confident, and confidence is certainly nothing you want to give over to your opponents.
For sure, and that was almost differences we've seen in the victories. It does seem like all the confidence is in the favor of Speed, while when they've lost, they've just felt like almost at times that they couldn't get anything going, and it is this mental game, this mental flip-flopping that can determine the series.
More pressure now for Speed. They start to come alive, and they start to get some pressure down in midfield. Pass play, top of the box, but G-Pepper unable to put it by the defender. Pressure will remain down here in the blue half until Popo and squad, they can break it out. We're about to cross the halfway point, and well, PDHM have the advantage. That touch by Ruffles, setting up Ski Boy on the platter. He opts to go off the backboard. Ruffles with the follow-up. Defender can't get to it, but Popo will instead. G-Pepper will continue possession down here at midfield. Ruffles taking control, grabbing that crucial midfield boost, and forcing a longer rotate due to the fact that, well, the PDHM side, they just can't run as fast when they don't have any shoes on.
Yeah, but it's also been at times where it does seem the confidence for Speedage isn't where they need to be. It's sometimes going for just one too many passes when you need to just sometimes just take that shot where they've allowed, you know, the defense to get back in position because they just can't get these balls under control. They go for, you know, these backward passes when the shot's already there.
Yeah, absolutely. This just seems like they're just unable to break out of their own half. They're unable to get these possessions going when they need them most. And as the time starts to tick down, I mean, PDHM, if the score stands, they've got a victory, but surely they're hungry for more. This lead, not safe. Popo looking to prove that. Bump on the back line is going to mean the third man is out of rotation for the time being, but that won't matter because Ryan's just hit it right up to Ski Boy, and they'll break out of possession for the time being. A minute 20 remaining on the clock. Ruffles will keep it down in the blue half as we see the ball reside yet again down in the blue half as we see PDHM Academy yet again on defense. But really, Speedage, they've just been able to not turn any of them in. Their angles just a little bit off, and their rotation's just a bit too far off. PDHM, they're looking to sit us to game number 5, and they're holding on for dear life right now.
With a nice shot, unfortunately, that it's already back in position. We're starting to see this last minute. Can Speedage get this pressure going? G-Pepper lifting it up to no one in particular. And Ryan, he'll get out, but Ski Boy with a nice shot. Can Ruffles get this through? No, he cannot.
On the backboard, so much pressure for Speedage as that one will be turned away by Ryan. They'll keep it down here in the blue half. Ruffles able to knock this ball into the corner, puts Popo awkward. Boost is starting to run out for the PDHM side. They're not able to get as strong of clears as they would want. Thankfully, right now, 2 of them have ample boost to get up to whatever shot they would like. But right now, you just need to hold on for dear life. You need to be scrambling. Right now, you don't need to be going for any offensive attempts. You just need to put everybody on defense and pray you don't get scored on. But now they've left a wide open opportunity for G-Pepper as he equalizes with 10 seconds left.
Speaking of that, no one on defense there. Not sure where the third player was on that. They just, an unnecessary overcommitment. Something that they've been punishing Speedage for in the past, and now doing it themselves at the worst possible moment. They had it set, they were ready for game 5, but now it looks like we may have overtime unless Speedage gets in here, and G-Pepper, just an unfortunate touch away from his teammates, will allow this to go to overtime in game 4.
You know, what we saw from PDHM right there was a little bit of overconfidence. They were like, look, we have a 1-goal advantage. We're headed to game 5, so they all stepped up. And unfortunately, when you all step up together, expecting somebody else to be back, it leaves a wide open net to shoot at. Popo keeping this out towards the top of the box. Perfect setup for G-Pepper as Nitrix looks to step in. But Ruffles will keep this ball right around midfield as they'll try to get the ball going, as they'll try to get this possession. Because right now, they're trying to make the comeback and take this series in 4. It's going to take making every shot that they have in order to win here in Golden Goal.
G-Pepper cannot get through Popo, but Ski Boy will get this long clear out. Ryan plays it well off the backboard.
Control right around midfield as Ryan looks to take advantage of both players back four. Speed each side. Now off the backboard, shot by Nitrix as he can't put it in. Ryan with the follow-up. Skiboy's not able to find it. Now G Pepper down back the other way, looking for the counterattack, but oh, that backflip will not help him. But Popo, he decides to drive under the ball for some reason, not into it. And this overtime continues with a minute pass and some mistakes starting to come out for both PDHM and Speed. It's just going to be a matter of who crumbles first here, who decides this game. If we're headed to game 5 or if we're stuck here at game 4 with Speed taking the victory.
We will see, is this ball staying around midfield? G Pepper sending this one across to no one, and Ryan will just get along clearer. And sometimes you've seen these miscommunications on the Speed side that they haven't been punished as much as we've seen earlier, but you still can't keep doing this, as now Nitrix will just bury that and force game 5.
My heart goes out to G Pepper here because he respawns off the demo. He's gonna have an opportunity to make the save, but no, he backflips and his teammate expected him to hit that. PDHM Academy send us to game 5, but it's off the back of a mistake from Speedage on the rotation that's created by that double demolition. And now we start to see ourselves with even more of an even ball game than we saw before. It's game number 5 on the cards, and both of these teams are looking hot.
For sure, shots relatively close on this one. PHM Academy 6 shots to the 8 for Speech. One thing to note, Popo, top of the leaderboard, not a single shot. The reason, 4 massive saves in this. 4 of his team's 6 saves. And that really helped. Speech had the opportunities, but the defense from PHM Academy really came out on top here. And Popo was a massive part of that.
I mean, yeah, when you save 6 out of the 9 shots by Speedage, you're obviously doing something well defensively rather. Because of that, there's just so few opportunities for Speedage. Now, one thing that does concern me is that Speedage took a lot of shots. They took a total of 8 shots. PDHM Academy found 6 shots only, but they found 2 goals off the back of it, so they're a little bit more offensively efficient. And it feels like Speedage are just throwing everything at the wall to see if something sticks. We hop into game number 5, where we've seen moments of brilliance from both PDHM and Speedage. But I think, if anything, if these games are anything to go off of, Speedage won game number 1, Speedage won game number 3. Are they going to win game number 5? By default, we'll have to see. Maybe my script on my end is wrong. But we've got ourselves a ball game here, folks. The scores as even as you would like as these teams continue to duck it out on this Valentine's Day edition of Seasonal Shootout.
Long ball will be played aside by G Pepper, having this one away from his net. Popo trying to send this one in for Ryan with the shot from a difficult angle, just not able to get that under the crossbar.
In possession down here, we're seeing a lot more possession out of PDHM in these last few games or so. Finally, Skiboy will break them out, but look, 0 boost on Skiboy. He's not even able to go for an aerial there, even if he wanted to. Blocked to the ground, grounded. 40 seconds passed, and well, Popo, his 50's going to keep this awkward at the top of the box. Ruffles touch off the ceiling will keep it down in the blue half for the time being. We're starting to see some flip-flop possession now. Skiboy up for the aerial, gets the shot, and the touch was missed by PDHM as Skiboy finds the opener.
Just a rough one there, G Pepper perfectly out. Double commit partially, but Ryan needed to get that touch in there. Needed to prevent that shot or meet it right away. Instead, allows it to go in. The defense not in position anymore. And Speed striking first here in game number 5 in this winner take all. And they will strike another time as G Pepper lost that over the defense.
It's just a perfect capitalization on Nitrix opting to go for boost instead of remaining with the ball. G Pepper flicks it over both defenders remaining on the net and finds the second advantage goal. But the problem right now is that if you're PDHM, you've just had a strong game. You've beaten Speedage, a team that's known to have incredibly crisp defensive rotations. Now, you find yourself down by 2 to them very early on in this game, and it's a lot of time for Speedage to hold on to this lead. It's a lot of time for them to maintain this dominance right now. Popo looking to change that quick. Double tap off the backboard, but he overreads it almost. A bit overzealous, and he doesn't make the touch. And 90 seconds played now, and well, PDHM, they haven't found their goal yet.
This is not a team, they can score, but this is a team that doesn't necessarily rely on scoring. It's another one of these teams that, you know, they win with their defense, with capitalizing on mistakes. And right now it seems that Speedage It's Feastergram, and their mistakes are almost the same way. I'm not sure, Feastergram definitely not the right word for that, but it seems they either are making none or they're making lots, and it's been, in their wins, they have been able to prevent these mistakes. They've been, playing perfectly. While in their losses, they have just given too many opportunities away, as they will get a third goal of their own, and Ruffles just cutting down that angle.
Give Ruffles an inch, he's going to take a mile. What an angle, what placement! That's not even a defensive error by PDHM in the sense that, like, no one could get up to that shot. It was an absolute rocket. The problem remains in the fact that you gave up possession in that dangerous of a spot on the field. I mean, 3 goals now, and we haven't even crossed halftime yet. I mean, PDHM, it's time to wake up. You need to get that scoring back because the defensive rotations are starting to not only help out Swedish, but it's putting them on offense more times than you would care to admit.
This Swedish team is happy to just, stay on offense. They are happy to just keep this pressure going, and right now it doesn't seem like they're going to be stopping anytime soon, as PHM is just struggling to get anything going, struggling to get out of their own half. This Ruffles almost puts in a 4th goal.
Yeah, it seems like PDHM haven't been able to break out of their backline for the entirety of this series. I mean, G-Pepper, Skiboy, Ruffles, whoever it is on the Swedish side, they haven't let up any pressure yet, and really, it just remains here on the backboard. Nice touch by Skiboy, but G-Pepper wasn't ready. He's sent scrambling back. He's got plenty of boost to work with. Opts to go for the corner boost instead. That could have been a mistake, and it will! As he opts to go for boost, Nitrix, well, he takes advantage of the shot he has. And G-Pepper caught off guard. This one flies in the back of the net. Certainly not only his fault. Ruffles misses that touch and Skiboy doesn't jump. But still, PDHM starting to work their way back into this series. A goal is a step in the right direction for PDHM. Can they keep up this pressure? And can they capitalize on the mistakes they have been granted?
See, that definitely was a mistake. It's never a bad play to just make sure your opponent can't get the ball. And we see they're just going back for boost there by G-Pepper. Just allows Nitrix to take that ball back. That shot should have never been taken in the first place, but Ruffles will get the 3-goal lead right back.
What a beautiful shot by Ruffles. I mean, Ryan is completely hopeless in the net. I mean, that shot is perfect too. Top corner, off the crossbar. Like I said, you give Ruffles an inch, he's going to take a mile. He finds himself his 2nd goal on the game. But more importantly, Speech begin to run away here in game number 5, a game that we expected PDHM to start to bounce back in and keep that momentum in from game number 4. But that since has not happened. Nitrix with the shot, blocked by G-Pepper at the top of the 6th, as they're unable to get the ball out, but the possession remains in the side of PDHM.
But time definitely not in their favor. Less than 70 seconds to play, and they need 3 goals just to force overtime. It is not impossible, but it is something that is going to be extraordinarily difficult, and even tougher with every passing second.
Now, with each second that passes, opportunities begin to walk out the door and go on vacation. 50 seconds remaining now for PDHM to pull off a miracle here in the seasonal shootout and find themselves game number 5. But they've got 10 seconds roughly to find each goal moving forward. And so far, they're stuck on their own half. Popo finally will get a long touch downfield. Looks like Skiboy bumped Ruffles. It's going to be only 1 man time. 50 doesn't work out for Ryan as this ball resides around the midfield. G-Pepper to step in, hits it off the side. Trying to get something working, trying to get something going. That touch by Nitrix strong, but Skiboy stops it in his tracks. 18 seconds remaining, and Skiboy's coming in again, but Ryan finds the save, but it's starting to become a little bit too tough of an order to ask for. And really the question is, even if BDHM score here, it's not even going to be a lifeline, it's going to be life support because they can't even break out of their own half. 2 seconds remaining, this game is done and dusted. Speedage are going to take game number 5 with a dominant performance here and secure themselves a victory and find themselves their 2nd win while dropping PDHM down to 2-2.
And definitely a key win as these teams, battling around that middle of the table right now. It is early, but every single victory will count as we get here into these later parts of the season. It's still early, yes, but this is one that, PHM Academy just will want back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they only were able to win the even number games. They were able to take it to game 5, but that's on the backs of games number 2 and 4 going in their favor. I don't actually have a script, but I feel as if I called it. We watched as Speedage. It's just the cyclic fashion as they have the strong defensive rotations, but then they start to be a little bit lackluster and start to be complacent. But then they become complacent. They lose the game, and now we got to play again. And they come back and they win them in game 5. They take it all the way, but it was certainly a close series for PDHM. They just weren't able to get that offensive consistency rather than efficiency going. And because of that, they fall in a 3-2 scoreline.
And they just weren't able to keep the momentum going. So we've seen this game. I mean, some of the other games, well, this one, not. I mean, the shot total 12-3 in favor of Speedage. Just, it seemed that, like, every time things started to go in PHM's favor, PH just took it right back. And at the end, they took it back in a big way with that massive Game 5 win to end the series. But that will end it for the two of us, at least here, as we still have one more match to play today. Just a quick reminder before we go to another break, our prize pools are community funded. If you want to help chip in, give these players a bit more to play for, we do have donation links down below to chip in for that. Any other thing, any money from cheering, from subscriptions, if you want to get that wide bass emote, will go to the same place as well. So big thanks to both Level and Forge, our two amazing sponsors. But that will do it for me and for Junior. We still have our last match of the day, Ferocity Gaming versus Fallout. Opposite Boy and Mr. Bepic will be on the call for that one. Stay tuned.
Right, ladies and let's go. All right, coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rocket League Showdown Game 4. I am your co-host, Opposite, and joining me today again for the second day in a row, Mr. Beppet, my man. How you doing?
Yeah, hello. I'm doing fantastic. How can I not be after an introduction like that? And we got the webcams on today. This
Yes,
is
sir.
just exciting stuff. Two exciting teams. This last match is going to be electric.
Oh, absolutely. Like, especially the game that we casted last time and the small hints of rumors that I've been hearing around the server. Woo! I'm excited to see what they've been doing. Both of these teams are 2-1, I believe. And, oh, man, like, these Octane level games always get me hyped up, man. I cannot wait to see what kind of crazy crap we see on stream today.
Yeah, these are definitely two of our top teams right now. They're both 2-1. And they have taken down some of the other good teams. We consult my notes here, so excuse my looking down. But Fallout, have taken out Snakes in the Grass, who they do sit at the bottom of the table right now, but that's still a good win for them. And they took down Speedage as well, who we just saw a couple of seconds ago. And so those are two big wins. They did fall to Hashiras, however, who we also saw today. But then again, so did Veracity. They've both fallen to Hashiras, and that's their one loss. So one loss to Hashiras each, that's not bad. And they've got some quality wins otherwise.
Yeah. I remember seeing a match with Hashira's, and Hashira was consistently doing amazing coordinated attacks. Their positioning and just baiting the other team to like get out of the goal line so they could reach in and just get it right past them. Both of these teams are going to have to now see what kind of offensive and defensive like stuff they can adapt to. Now, I haven't seen these two teams play against each other, but I'm imagining there's a couple players that we want to keep our eyes on. So I'll be honest, like, I don't know any of these people. What do you think? Like, is there anybody we should be keeping our eyes on, like making some crazy shots or maybe some like big, what's the word? I'm losing it. Well, it doesn't matter because right now it looks as if the teams are loading in, and
yeah,
I think we'll find out for ourselves.
To answer your question, Fallout in our tier 1 last season, which is which is our top tier, they won it. They won it all. They came in as the 3rd seed to the playoffs, and they ended up taking the entire thing. So they're the second. That's up here.
So 10 seconds. We already see X coming down the middle for a beautiful goal just right over DJ. I knew this was gonna be crazy, but right off the bat for first match, oh man, I don't want to cut you off, and like we can get back to it once we kind of get a moment.
Yeah.
But we're already seeing Veracity kind of in like showing off of what they have in their amazing prowess. They're having to now play their defense as Veracity is now in the tail end of this with Jonesy trying to lead a spike up, and they're just going to be stuck in the air for some kind of unfortunate call-outs. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm still in shock of that 10-second goal. I wasn't ready for it. My eyes weren't on it. So,
no,
and another one down center field from Reed.
All right, let's see what happened here. A little bit of an off touch to the wall by Jonesy. Blazer with the beautiful center, and Reed just beat the last man there. Threw a banger into the net, and that's a 2-0 lead for Veracity right out of the gate. Fallout's got a little bit of catching up to do here.
Man, and they just like, I don't know what, I love your take on this as we see Jonesy start to lead an open net. He goes for it, and just Blazer is able to save it at the last second. Like we're seeing here, like Veracity Gaming already showing some really good prowess. Like, what's your take?
Well, we've already seen several really good infield. All right, I'm just going back to the top here because what Vara has brought it back to a 1-goal deficit here. A great clear by Jonesy. Blazer backflip and Letvara takes full. He capitalizes in full on that mistake by Blazer. And this is a non-stop match thus far.
All right, you know what? We'll put a pin in that like who to watch thing. Right now we're just gonna go back to it. X doing a air dribble down the run, and it's gonna be stopped by DJ, who has consistently been doing some saves here, but he's not gonna be able to get anybody as Blazer flips it up and right over everybody in the goal line of Fallout. That was a very well done goal from Blazer.
Another great center by, I think it was Reed that centered that, and then Blazer was there and crushed it into the net. So the infield passes right now for Veracity are really making a difference. They've scored 2, maybe 3 off that. I forget the first one already because we've seen so many goals. And almost another one, Jonesy having to make Reed read the ball real quick, but the goals are pouring in nonstop here.
Yeah, no. By the way, pardon my Zell mispronouncing your name. I just see X. And we see X go for a shot, dunking, almost dunking it on Luvera. Luvera. Yeah. Speaking of whom is going to try and dribble down center field, but it's going to be contested as DJ accidentally passes it off the Reed. He sets it up mid again. Jonesy there for the save, and Zell going for the side hit, and it's just not going to land. This offensive is just non-stop, and finally a breath for Fallout as they are able to get it back on the side of Veracity Gaming.
Yeah, but Zell getting it past 2 there really stifled that any hope of offensive pressure for Fallout. That was another close shot. Reed just off, and Veracity is non-stop on the offensive half right now. Fallout's gotten 1 goal. They've had 1 little break, but Veracity they're keeping the ball in the orange half more than not, and they're peppering the net with shots back and forth, back and forth. Fallout is on the back foot just constantly here.
It's almost like they're playing. It's like it's so amazing just seeing this kind of like dance that flows in and out. It's lucrative steps just back and forth. No one is giving and no one is taking too much, but it looks like DJ is going to be taking a lot from Fallout. From Veracity Gaming. Fallout finally getting a point break as the streak is finally ended, and now the momentum has switched up again. This dance has been back and forth. The positioning of Fallout is just finally been able to break through the offensive constant as the kickoff goal is close here. Reed again with the save coming in from Veracity Gaming. It's non-stop.
And I've noticed the 2 goals that Fallout have gotten in their brief break from Veracity offense have both come on transition plays. The first one was off a big clear by Jonesy. Second one was off a big clear by DJ CJ. And that's what they've got to do with this non-stop Veracity attack. As Veracity gets another one, that's 4 now for Veracity off of another infield play. And look at that. Pass from Blazer, Reed just shoots it, and a banger in net over Luvara.
And I don't want to be this kind of guy, but Luvero just wasn't prepared for that. He wasn't up forward enough to be able to kind of contest it, and it's really unfortunate as the kickoff now goes to Fallout. They're going to be setting it up somewhat center field. Blazer being the one to read it and also just fly out, and Luvara, and gets a double on him. That's nasty.
Rude.
Zell going in for a shot, but DJ CJ being there in the moment is able to save it really quickly as now Fallout is trying to get a good clear, but nothing solid is coming out of it. Finally, Jonesy getting it out of their side of the field. DJ leading the other, it down left field. He might be going for a pass here to kind of reposition everybody get some more boost. Puts it on the side. Blazer trying to loosen the pressure a bit. It's center field. Luvera goes for the shot, and it's not too wide, and it gets it into that bottom right corner.
There we go. That was some good extended pressure from Fallout there. They forced the mistake on X, who is Zell, if you were wondering. They forced Zell to make a mistake there and capitalized in full on it again. The name of the game right now for Fallout is capitalize on Veracity's mistakes. If they can hold steadfast when Veracity is berating them on their defensive half, then they can turn it around. There's a shot from Jonesy and force some mistakes from Veracity and capitalize on them.
Like that open net and a miss from Jonesy. It's just barely there, but Reed's going to be able to pick that up. 30 seconds now. If Fallout can bring this back, it could be something amazing. Goes for the flip reset and almost gets it by it. Still center field. Fallout has a shot here.
No.
It's barely there. And now Veracity Gaming is going to take this shot, and it's going to be an open set. It's going to be open season. 10 seconds. This could be the break that Veracity needs to kind of seal the deal on this first game, but Fallout's not going to let that happen. They sent it up middle field. 1 second. It's still in the air. Anything can happen here. And it goes down, closing out the first game, going to Veracity Gaming. What a match to open the last set with.
We can only hope the rest of the series is that good, because right there,
man.
Fallout was not on offense a lot, but when they were so close. They were capitalizing on every chance that was given to them, and then at the very end, 2 chances to tie the game, send it to overtime. Didn't end up falling, but they have so much that they can take away from this game 1, because they're in this series. Veracity was at the beginning, the first half of that game was a non-stop onslaught in favor of Veracity, but Fallout made it close with their transition game, and when they did get pressure on offense, they were playing lights out.
Yeah, no, this was it was like I was describing earlier, like nothing was being taken away too much. Veracity Gaming was consistent on their positioning, their like boost management. You saw them only go for shots that they knew that they could make. Fallout made a couple of shots where they just misfired it. It was an unfortunate pass that just didn't clear out, just didn't clean themselves up, I guess.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I'm still being shocked a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. Going into this next one, though, I gotta say, I'm keeping my eye on Reed and DJ a little bit.
Yeah.
You saw Reed just making these shots and just being the one to fully nail them in. And going into this second game, I'm extremely excited to see what Reed and Jonesy pull to the table. DJ being an extremely good goalie has been almost monumental for this team. And we already see, like you were talking about last time, we see Veracity on the offense again, just pushing Fallout to their limits and kind of baiting them out of the goal line. But this
right out of the
opening
gate.
just creates just small gaps. But I want to sit on this a little bit, so I'll let you take control for a bit as I kind of figure out what I want to say here.
Yeah, Veracity right out of the gate, just doing what they were doing in game 1 with a lot of offense. But Fallout, this is a better start for them, really. They have the ball on the blue half early in this game, and it's still a 0-0 tie game. So right away, an even better start for Fallout when compared to game 1. And it's a little more like an even match here. A chance for Zell, but thrown away by DJ CJ.
Yeah, and as he goes around, as he's leading this next attack, he's going to be sending it up mid. This could be a shot for somebody, but they might be just trying to bait everybody out of the goal line to get a clear shot. Reed going to take control, doing a flip reset down the field. It's open net. Blazer goes for it, but it's unfortunately not going to be able to land, as now you see Fallout grab some boost, get it up in the air, get it over Reed, hits it off the wall. Blazer's going to read it, though, and it's now the turntables have been turned. Wait. Anyways, you see this dance, right? Am I the only one who sees this?
No, it is a dance right now. Back and forth, swaying with the music. These two teams are, and they're trading blows, trading steps. Fallout takes 1 step, Veracity follows, and they're both trying to see what the other one is doing so they can take advantage of it. Veracity kind of testing Fallout's defense, going to see if they can find those infield passes like they had in game 1. Fallout doing the same. They went for one earlier, trying to take a page out of Veracity's playbook. But Fallout just trying to keep the ball on the blue half. There's a good dunk by DJ CJ, but Zell's going to take it up the wall here and try and clear it out before Fallout has any chance to set up an offensive stand.
He gets it right over Jonesy. DJ able to kind of get it away from the goal, but it's not enough to keep it out of the side. Nothing cleared yet. He goes for it, trying to take control before Fallout does anything crazy. But little do we know that as DJ's trying to get some boost in position for a good attack, Blazer's going to take it down midfield, go for a shot. DJ again being there with the save. Consistency is everything. Luvera going for a shot midfield. not going to make it. So Veracity may take this moment and just try and take control here. This could be the break that they've been going for 3 solid minutes and nothing sticking. Veracity and Fallout need a break here.
Yeah, and they're both trying to get a break here, but the other team is not letting them. If it's a wayward touch that doesn't go one team's way, it's just a good play by the other. They can't find extended pressure. The defenses are both playing incredibly well to get those booming clears out of dodge and passing out of defense. It's not that the offense is slowed down, it's that the defense has stepped up here for both teams.
Absolutely. We see a shot hit the crossbar, but nobody's there to get the rebound, so it's going to go down midfield. Interjected by Reed. He's going to dome Jonesy. This could be the break Veracity needs. Luvera misses the save, but so does Zell.
He got bumped.
Oh, man, this is... Oh, that was exactly what Veracity needed, but now Fallout's taking their shot at it. Jonesy hitting it off the backboard. DJ going for the side shot. He sees an open net. Zell is there for the save. This game is not giving up on anything as we get down to the last minute. Don't you dare click away. This could be one of the best games I've seen this week.
Oh no, he ran out of boost. Jonesy had a shot there to drop it down to the net, but he ran out of boost. And you're right, this is so back and forth. This game 2 here, no team willing to break because we're getting down to crunch time here. Final 45, the next goal we see just might be the game winner as Zell putting a shot on Lidfara, saves it, and that one, Reed will not be saved. And that 1-0 advantage, the crucial 1-0 advantage, is going to go in favor of Veracity late in game number 2.
You see that, right? That was just pure timing, and Jonesy barely missing the save, just there millisecond too late. We have 30 seconds to see if Fallout can kind of bring the A game. But as we see as this kickoff, Veracity not letting that happen, just trying to buy time. They're keeping it on the opposing side so Fallout doesn't have anything they can do anything with. Blazer goes for the save. Luvera trying to kind of contest it, keep it on Veracity's side, goes for it. It's near the net,
wow.
Way too close for anybody on Fallout to like. Down to the last 10 seconds here. Fallout's going for it. Jonesy could get this off the wall into the center field. If he does, there's a couple people waiting for him. Oh, it's there. It could happen. Zell goes for it. Reed kind of clearing it farther, making it harder for Fallout. Could land here, but Jonesy not letting it happen. Gets it up in the air. Nothing too crazy yet. Blazer going for another goal, and Veracity taking the 1-goal game for the second set.
That was insane. That was an entire 5 minutes of nonstop back and forth. That was anyone's game for the entirety of it. Even after Veracity scored, Fallout still had opportunity to equalize, but Veracity held steadfast in defense, and wow, this series is non-stop.
It's insane. I was sweating for a bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like looking at Fallout's defense and just on a dime consistency, being able to turn around and change something and adapt in a second. You saw how crazy these saves coming from DJ and Luvera, two of the top goalies I've seen in a very long time. I'm extremely impressed, but let's not count anybody out. The shots made by Zell and Reed, their passing ability has just been insane. Nothing stuck and nothing was completely clean, but that was due to the fact that, like you said earlier in the game, the defensive game from both of these sides just stepped up to another level. And as we go into game 3, what are your thoughts? What do you think we should be paying attention to?
I mean, everything that went just if these teams can keep up the level of play that they're playing at currently with the solid defense, the offense is still solid. We saw only 1 goal in that last game, but the offense was still solid. The defense was just that good from both of them. Before we get into game 3, I have to highlight one play. The defensive awareness for both these teams is tremendous there as Reed and Zell get in the way of that shot, but DJ CJ had a play last game where he was last man coming back, where he was still rotating back, going towards the net. And he bumped the Veracity offender who had an open net. And that's just a tremendous heads-up defensive play that I had to highlight here, as Lavara had an open net there for a second, but he couldn't get to it in time. as now Reed with the whiff is going to set DJ CJ up. Verocity a little sketchy out of the gate, but they're still playing all right.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty, so I'll be a little bit behind on this.
There's a good offensive play. Oh man. I wish you could have seen that in real time because that was so fast. Blazer to the pass to Zell, right back to Blazer, who pre-flipped into it. I don't know if I'm the goal line defender there. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do because that was you blink and you miss that play. Beautiful by Verocity.
Oh, that's just the way Rocket League goes. As Reed goes for a save here, we see DJ line it up exactly for Luvera to go for it. Net is open, but he goes wide, just barely missing the goal line, giving Zell the perfect opportunity to get this on to fall outside. We see immediately he bounces it off the wall. Jonesy not letting anybody in center field take that home. He takes it onto the side of Verocity Gaming, immediately trying to give it to Luvera and getting it back. I'm back, by the way, if you can't tell. We see Zell lead it up in the middle, and you're right. Anything in this moment can just, you blink, it's gone, it's in.
Yep, these teams are playing at warp speed right now as DJC is going to try and set something up, but Blazer cuts it out. The defenses are still holding strong. We got a goal a little bit earlier in this game than we had in game number 2, but okay. Saved by Jones coming off the back wall. He made that look so easy, and I can promise you that is not easy to do.
That was just clean. A solid save coming in from Jonesy as DJ sets it up almost just to get it right in, but Reed and a lot of other people able to contest it there. Kind of a double commit, but I mean, it worked, so I'm not going to say much more about it. We see Luvera going off the side here, trying to kind of get everybody around, make them waste a little bit more boost. Zell off the wall, handing it off to Reed, and at the last second, Jonesy comes in again. What is this man made of? But immediately, Reed and Blazer do a small double tap as he brings it up to the top right corner, almost not able to get it in, but slips it into the right corner and gets 2-0 against Fallout.
Wow, what a save by Jonesy off of another tremendous infield passing play. But then, once again, Blazer capping off the offensive drive with a goal. And Verocity's got the 2-goal lead here, and they're gonna make it 3. Reed will make it 3 just past halftime.
I gotta say, Fallout's putting in a heck of a fight, but I'm gonna be honest here. We've seen the defensive play come up a little bit, but Verocity is just getting in these small breaks into the defensive wall, and it's hurting Fallout a little bit. I'm loving what I'm seeing, but I'm really hoping that Fallout kind of adapts here. We see them already going for a shot, but X reads it right off the bat. Jonesy going in for the rebound a little bit, but is kind of cut off there by Reed, as now he runs out of a little bit of boost, so he goes for the corner here. We see a lot of repositioning from, just from Verocity, just to kind of catch their breath. And I gotta say, I'm not thinking that they're giving Fallout any kind of time to catch theirs, as they get a 4-0 lead with just under 2 minutes here.
No, this is kind of looking more like game 1 than it is game game 2, because in game 1, Verocity had non-stop offense, pulled out every single passing play they could, and they scored 4 goals because of it. And the only difference between this game and game number 1 is that Fallout hasn't found those transition goals yet. CJ trying to set something up, but nothing comes of it quite yet. And they're going to have to start dropping some shots in pretty soon if they're going to have a chance at coming back in this game 3.
Absolutely. DJ going in for some kind of lead-in shot here. Gets another one off the rebound of the contest. An amazing read. I was not predicting that at all. And extremely well played as he just gets down to the ground. Perfectly just, wow.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to say, at the beginning, I was going to say that DJ CJ was my player to watch, because when they were winning this whole thing last season, DJ CJ was their leader. Every single game, he was Mr. Consistent, Mr. Good. And like we saw in that play, that's just a little taste of what DJ CJ brings to the table.
Yeah, and as we see him be able to take a save here, goes off to Jonesy, who's not going to be able to have enough boost to kind of clear it. So Reed might be going up for a backboard hit here, but Blazer's too high up to go for it. So maybe everybody, Zell being the kind of just stay-at-home goalie. DJ gets a bump and another goal from Jonesy, giving the opportunity for a breakaway. This could be what Fallout needs to bring it back.
Yeah, Veracity better stop messing around right now because I think the 4-goal lead has made them a little bit cocky. Because their X was sitting in net that whole time instead of rotating. And Fallout took full advantage of it. Fallout's not a team you can sleep on at any point in the game. So, Veracity, I warn you now, 4 goals is not enough if you're going to be messing around like that.
Ooh, but 2 demos are with just like Latvura. I think that's the pronunciation that I got. Lutvera. Right. Okay. My apologies, man. Lutvera. Reed goes for a flip. Oh, just for X, and DJ again showing his dominance and his experience. Why he's in the lead. He's gonna bring it down to 30 seconds. Fallout needs to bring this back, and they're on the offense here. But I mean, as I say that, DJ just barely going for the save, but Reed's gonna get the rebound here. As the positioning, 20 seconds. Fallout's gonna need a miracle.
Yep, and that's what happens when Zal actually comes out of the net. As he sets up Reed for a tremendous goal. Great beat by Zell, and Veracity's looking poised to take this. Fallout's going to need a bit of a miracle comeback here, and off the kick, off the crossbar. That will not be the start of the miracle comeback quite yet. Oh.
Wait, did we just give it to them? What? Did Reed just... Hold on. Are they bringing this to over... I'm going to avoid the caster curse here. I'm going to say that was an accident. We're going to continue watching this.
Yeah, we're going to
see what happens.
Continue. Let's go. Let's ignore that and see what happens in this last 12 seconds here.
DJ going for another hit off the wall here. It might X bringing it up. Passes it off, keeping it in the air. Okay. It doesn't look like they're going to get the lead they need. As it hits the ground, Veracity takes a full sweep. Unfortunately for Fallout, Veracity Gaming just... You know what? No, this wasn't a full sweep. I mean, in technical terms, yes, it was a full sweep. But, I got to give some points to Fallout here. They stood their ground. Their defensive game was great game, too. And I guess they faltered a little bit on the offensive push there. But... I'm not sure, because it's a little bit of both sides here.
Yeah, Fallout, if you tuned in for game number 3, then I pity you, because games 1 and 2 were lights out. Fallout matched almost every single blow of Veracity, and it could have gone to game 5 if both teams, it could have gone either way. And it just so happened to end in a sweep here. Veracity was able to close it out in game 3. They played tremendous. Fallout played good in game 3, but they weren't able to keep up with Veracity in the final match. And just because of the way games 1 and 2 fell, that was the end of the series. But Fallout played tremendously. Veracity played tremendously. Can't take anything away from either of these teams.
Oh, absolutely not. I was just looking at some of the scorecards here, and I was just looking at some of how many of everybody. I wasn't able to write down everything because I was trying to pay attention to you, but yeah. Because you said a lot of great points, and I want to touch on something that I think actually is, I think was the key in this. There's a lot of times, especially in these games, that I've seen players kind of not lose hope, but the momentum swing when the pendulum of momentum swings, it's a fickle mistress. And in this time, just enough of the pressure and enough of the offensive, I'm going to avoid saying pressure again, but it comes down to pressure. And it comes down to this momentum just being if you are just under oh man, we're under the gun, there's a lot of just thinking and overthinking, and you're just constantly in your head. And when you're in Rocket League and having to coordinate and rotate around, reposition, get more boost, and oh crap, I'm out of boost. And then you're frantic, maybe the communication kind of fell out. I don't think that's exactly what we saw here, but I really do think that they were just under pressure and weren't able to meet those expectations that they set for themselves. And sometimes that may just mean setting really high expectations. But in the end, Fallout still put up in a fantastic game. And unfortunately, they just fell under a little bit. They just barely fell under the expectations they were hoping to meet today.
Yeah, and what it comes down to probably, if you play as good a game as Fallout played in games 1 and 2, going into game 3 being down 4-0 just past halftime that's really demoralizing. And that probably did play a role in the second half of game 3 because they played lights out, the cards didn't fall their way. And that's momentum for you. Veracity escaped games 1 and 2 with the win, and they got 4 straight goals in game number 3. Fallout just that's not where they want to be. And when your team is good as Fallout, that can start to wear and tear on you, and
Oh,
that's probably what
absolutely.
happened.
I mean, still though, I would not count Fallout out.
No.
Like the nuke may have dropped on them and they may have to go into hibernation, but man, if there's anything about the human race, they are resilient. So they'll be coming out and they'll be coming back strong. So I'm expecting something great from Fallout here. They may have lost today, and Ferocity Gaming, I think they're keeping their eye on Fallout now because eventually they're probably going to have to face these guys again.
Definitely.
So I pity the next people who play Fallout because now they're out with a vengeance and they are coming back, baby. And I mean, I guess that's kind of it.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing else to say. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. That I do pity the next team that plays Fallout because coming out of this, they're going to be hungry for a win. And they weren't able to get it today, but well played to both of these teams. Tremendous series to cap off our day.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of close it off, if you haven't already, please drop a follow. And I'm Opposite Boy.
And I'm Mr. Bepic.
And we're going to see you next time.
I don't know why, but I can't seem to get you off my mind. And I know it's true, and I'll say this to you: I want you back. There's something inside, yeah, there's something inside that brings me back to you, yeah. No, I can't hide.